Hello. You should be able to hear me. I've gone live really quick because Pigeon Ahoy has just raided us. Where's my raid? Mr. Page, look at you in the double figures. Some sort of famous streamer now, are we? Mother Kip, What you been playing? Put it in the chat. I'm not really interested in that, but I love you, and you must do a Chewbacca. You got to do your chewy. Do your chewy. I can't hear it, but I feel it in my heart. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming.
What's happening?
What's happening? We are. Look, me and Pidge go way back, right? Me and Pidge.
That's fine. That makes more sense.
Right, around a campfire once, speaking of fairies and undead. It was fairies and vampires. It was the most romantic thing I've ever had to experience in my life, and I owe that to Pidge. So thank you, Pidge. Thank you. We play Dungeons and Dragons and other stuff on this channel. Apparently, this is what my friends tell me. We play Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesdays. We play Carbon 2185 on Thursdays, which is Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And we were back to it last night. It's been 2 months. Just short of 2 months.
Good.
It was really, really cool. Please go check it out on YouTube or the VOD.
Punch stuff and open doors like a pro.
Yeah, I've got 2 rogues with me. Yeah, well, I've got a crowbar. Tonight we are playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th Ed, but we are playing the Icewind Dale Rime and the Frost Maiden campaign that released not too long ago. Roberto of the Short Rest Tavern is our lovely dungeon master, and this is his beautiful crew. And I'm that they've started to venture off into the future to start their own.
They grow up so quick.
But I'm hijacking Fridays and I'm staying. So we're going to be playing that. Sundays you get Dice of the Beholder that play on our channel, and they've got their own homebrew D&D. And then Mondays we don't run anything. However, this coming Monday will be the premiere. Red carpet and everything. I'll put a towel out, don't worry, and I'll walk on it.
Suit and ties.
The Suit and Ties. Short Rest Tavern will be starting their run at the Candlekeep Mysteries. The Short Rest Tavern are basically this lot minus one bald man. Yeah.
That's Lauren.
That's
Lauren. We get Lauren.
Oh, plus you switch me out for Lauren.
Yes.
We call her Buns McGee because she's got cracking buns. You'll understand when you see her hair. You see this? I don't know if you see this. This lovely. I never really shout about this. This was a gift to me by Ruffworx Creative. I'm pretty sure he's rubbed his sack on it because it smells Russian, but it's lovely. So, welcome to the channel. Lovely raiders. Cheers, Pidge. Thank you very much. If you stick around, great. If you don't, enjoy the rest of your evening or your weekend, etc. It's nice and bright outside. We're on social media. Go check us out on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I never ever use, but I will be in the coming months as we start to go out into the big wide world.
Twittered and Instagram.
We're on Twitter. Go check us out. Most of our shows are sponsored in some form. The majority of them are sponsored by Loke Battle Mats, who is an incredible talent who makes literally that, battle mats. They're in A3, A4, A5. You flip them out on your table. And you've got tundra, you've got forest, you've got mountains, dungeons, arcane circles, etc. They have, in the last couple of months, done a very successful Kickstarter for Taverns and Towns, which is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a more modern-y urban, not modern, it's more urban maps like Taverns and Towns. And the one they've just done is Wilderness, which, again, is exactly what you think it is. They do them all the stuff they do in digital versions. So if you're playing like we do right now over Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or other virtual tabletops, you can grab their digital versions, throw them up there, boom, you've got the exact same product live and across the tinters with your friends. So yes, we also use Syrinscape for our ambience. They're not a sponsor, but they do. We do use them on every single thing we run through the week and weekend. They're great for background music, whether you're sat around a table and you've got it on a tablet of some sort behind you just playing out, or if you're playing online with your friends, you can use the online player, which is an app. 2 seconds. Ginger, can you turn it down, dude? Just turn it down a little bit. Is it Dom's TV? Dom? 2 secs. Rob, entertain the gang.
Oh yeah. We might as well do the catch up now because so we'll do a quick recap of what happened last week, and then we'll get ready for when our lovely Gentle Steps gets back from beating his children with a stick.
You can't joke about that after the one video that he posted where the kids said he was gonna stab them.
I wasn't going to stab them. It was self-defense. Right. So.
My sister did stab me in the leg once when she was little, so yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Welcome
pencil,
back. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so we use Syrinscape. We're sponsored by Lucky Battle Mats. We use Roll20. Check them out. Check these guys out on Monday. Short Rest Tavern. They might appear in chat. If they do, click on their name. It'll take you to their Twitch account. Just click follow. If you look for them on Twitter, I believe it's just Short Rest Tavern.
The Short
Rest Tavern. On Twitter, you'll find them. Facebook, I'm assuming the same. If not, you can see them post. I've shared them, etc. Go find them and follow them and start watching them do their Candlekeep mysteries as of Monday.
Yeah, it should be good. Very excited for Candlekeep.
The artwork you see on our tokens is done by Tony. The artwork you will see on the Short Rest Tavern is done by Tony, this lovely Elkis Paladin person. I'm waving my mouse around as if you can see it. Yeah, so check out his beautiful artwork. Right, so Roberto, boom, do your recap. Tell everyone where we got to.
Yeah, so welcome back to Secrets Was Dying For, which is our lovely campaign and Wizards of the Coast book, Rime of the Frost Maiden. I think we're on episode 13. Oh, look at that! He's on form today. We pick up after a little bit of a messy encounter. This bunch of would-be investigators, hot on the trail of a bunch of seemingly covert Duergar that have been stealing, investigating, and collecting resources from the 10 towns of the Icewind Dale itself for unknown purposes. And you have met them a number of times. Once a fortress in the north, an outpost, which led you to the town of Easthaven. And after doing a few tasks for the town guard and Speaker Daneth, the town councillor, you were directed to investigate a ferry that had seen some disturbances and seemingly out of character traffic. So you went and had a look and failed to notice a few hidden Duergar as a party had returned. Cue quite an intense battle where a couple of you fell down, a few of you ended up worse for wear, and ultimately you did prove successful, if a little bit bloodied for your troubles. There seemed to be a map that had some key information on that one of the Duergar tried to flee with towards the end of the encounter, but not when Vale's around. While her friends are bleeding out, she decided to chase after it instead and managed to, after telling the party to leave one, after telling the party to leave one alive, shot the last one dead.
I deserved it.
I knew that was going to come up. I knew.
Leaving a trail of corpses across the once tourist ferry vessel from Easthaven to Caer Konig, and a few of the party regaining consciousness, picking themselves up, dusting themselves up, catching their breath after the fray, which is where we will jump in tonight's session. It is around noon. The dull light of the endless twilight filters through what little cloud coverage there is. The miles and miles of ice that now make up the lake stretch off to one side, and the docks and the tops of the snow-covered houses of Easthaven from the other. You guys find yourselves amongst the rooms and the deck of the boat. Ardry, you kind of pick yourself up after a mind control spell took the mind of Gentle Steps, who decided to hit you in the face with a great axe, which left you a little bit worse for wear. And I believe, Celine, you hit the deck after getting into a bit of a scuffle with a Duergar who'd cast Enlarged on himself and towered above and beat you down. Elkis and Vale and Gentle Steps managed to bring you back around through healing magic, stabilizing, but you are feeling the after effects of it. You're staying with blood. A few of you still got open wounds. You're feeling pretty beat up, and you can see about 120 feet off onto the lake, your Tabaxi Ranger trudging back, seemingly with some papers in hand.
Oh, I'm taking the whole body.
She's dragging a body back.
Across the ice, yeah. A small body across the ice.
Did it regrow when it died?
Should have, yeah. I'm still unconscious.
You are. You're stable, but you're unconscious. Can you roll me a 1d4, please, Salim?
Yeah. 2.
2. If left to your own devices, you will come back to consciousness and recover after 2 hours.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on. So
Never mind. Scrap that.
The whole idea.
Shall I
Oh,
cast
dear.
it or just leave her? It seems a bit mean. That's 9 HP.
Kind of like slowly like comes to you and just look around. Confused.
So you, just to give you a bit of a recap, just the ferry itself, or the boat, it's a 2-story, a 2-floor. What's the terms of 2 decks? There we go. 2 decks of a ship. The top deck is fairly simple. There doesn't seem to be any equipment. It seems to have been cleared out once the ferry fell into disrepair and trapped within the ice. There was a makeshift kind of sleeping chamber where you assume the Durgar had been held up with a pushed up table against the wall with a few bits and pieces on that you had originally investigated. But other than that, it's there's a mixture of scorch marks. There's bits of wood missing where attacks went wide, and warlocks tried swinging maces. There's a mixture of Durgar and various other races of blood everywhere. A lot of the ice has been smashed away, and it looks a bit of a state. But you're all there. You're all conscious, and within the next few minutes, Vale, hard of breath, dragging a 150 kilo body of a Durgar across the ice is no mean feat, but you do make it back.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Dearth ended up on main deck, correct?
Yeah, Dearth shrank
Which-
down to about a foot tall using an ability, and Elkis, I believe, smashed him in the face with his hammer.
So he's dead.
Everyone is dead. There is no surviving Durgar. There were 3 regular and a robed one that you know to be known as Dearth. All 4 are dead. 2 of them are
Okay.
off the side of the boat after being shot and falling off of the gangplank. One is dead, but one has been dragged back by Vale, and Dearth is back to his regular size on the main deck.
Adri kind of, she's been making her way to the main deck anyway because she knew that we had to keep one of them alive. Like Vale said, keep one alive. She's gonna go up to main deck and she's gonna start pulling out the rope from her bag and start tying up the hands and feet of Dearth before casting Spare the Dying.
No memento. You have to touch a living creature. Dearth is not living.
Is he
Dearth
dead?
is
Dead.
Dead.
Is
Ah.
he dead?
I squished him a bit. Sorry.
Balls. I was
see,
hoping that he
looking-
was like
Looking down, you
on
can
the
see
edge.
a large portion of kind of the upper skull where the hair's thinning at the top and where the robes are fall back. Usually part of the head just caved in.
In that
Where
case, then
Elkis-
forget everything I just said because it made 0 sense.
Good idea.
Thanks.
But-
I'm not quite at that level of necromancy yet.
There's a different, it's spare the dying, he's not spare the dead.
That's fine. I know what my next spell's going to be.
Cool. So unfortunately, you, as you start to put together the spell components and start to tap into that energy, you don't feel that little connection you can normally tap into to pull people back from the brink, and it seems like it's too far gone.
No, okay, that's fine. Don't
Body
worry. In that case, then Adri is just going to stand on deck, look around, and go. So we're keeping one alive then, yeah?
Algie's got this kind of big, it's healed, but this kind of jagged blood mark and scrape down the side of her face where gentle steps you nearly cut her head in half.
Those are them. Sorry. Yeah.
Hey, at least I'm alive. And she's still sitting on the floor. just
You're
kinda,
on the floor, what?
dusting herself off.
Yeah, you got hit by basically a warhammer from an 8-foot Durgar, who just basically just croquet hammered you in the head. So you're gonna feel a little bit rough.
This seems like
whack-a-mole.
Did I stabilize Celine?
It.
At this point, Vale's just going to trudge sort of back onto the ship, dragging this body, and just be like, about what I said. Needs must, and I didn't want them to get away with this map, so I made the decision that the map was more important, and I'm gonna just sort of dump the body there and pick the map up off them.
Evil Wisp dead. Seems right to me.
Dull thud as this body just hits the deck. You see a couple of broken arrow shafts sticking out at angles of the back.
Yeah, so they tried to make a run for it with this map, and I didn't want them to, and I figured their life was worth less than them getting away with this information. So I can, I think, read what it says, so I'm going to take a look. That's all right. I speak Dwarvish. I speak and read Dwarvish, which is what I think it was written.
Do any of them have any valuables on them?
Make an investigation check.
Yes.
3.
2. I rolled a 3.
What a guess.
Where's the camera?
So you rummage through, and between the battle, the mess that you've left of the bodies, you don't find anything. You kind of put off. You know, it's not the most thorough search in the world, but you give them a quick once over, but it doesn't bring anything up.
If the body twitches, I smack it again with my hammer. Don't think I got out.
What did you say you're doing? Sorry, Vale?
I'm having a look at the map that I
And you
saved.
speak Dwarvish, right?
I do indeed.
Okay, so you roll out the map, and it is from a similar, if not the same cartographer as the map of Icewind Dale that you guys have. It has the same border, the same kind of calligraphized,
Calligraphy.
calligraphy title, and it seems to be the same penmanship that's made it. There is a couple of annotations that are in kind of a more cruder, blockier, runic language that you understand as kind of a primitive accented Dwarvish, that highlight a number of the towns around the eastern part of the Dale, with inventory checks, with quantities noted next to them of areas that have been checked, areas that have proven fruitless. There are marks to. There is a notification. There is a notation to the north, past Caercone, where the fortress was, and that's marked on there as it's just labelled as outpost in Dwarvish. The big attention, or the big draw to attention you have, is that deep in the south end of the map, in the mountain range, there seems to be a mention of the Sunblight Fortress.
Okay. I'm gonna turn to Elkis and say, "Where are you from again?"
Duggan's Hole close place.
And I'm gonna try and find that. On the map and see what it says about annotations in that area.
It's in the very, very northwesterly portion of the town. I'm still laughing at the mistake of last week. The northwestern area of the Dale.
The western area of
West East Haven in the west. Duggan's Hole. It's marked as, again, you translate it the best you can. There's no direct translation from Dwarvish into Common, but the closest approximation is that low chance of resources doesn't seem to be worth the investment of time.
Not much
Okay,
there.
so my initial thought looking at this was that it might be them tracking down Shardlin. So I was looking to see if they'd marked anything about stealing it off of your mother.
Well,
but
maybe
it might be
first.
We're talking, when you look at it, Vale,
Yeah.
the quantities are in the wagon load rather than individual pieces. It's on a scale probably far larger than you guys would have been. It's less of, we've got a bracelet here, a chunk here. It's more 2 wagon loads, 3 wagon loads.
Okay.
from areas around Bryn Shindar and around East Haven specifically, you can see numbers hitting double figures.
So it might not be Shardlin. It might just be, you know, expensive things. It might just be stuff they've nicked.
How many necklaces are they making?
Well, I don't know, but that much Shardlin, people would notice going missing. Do you know what I mean? Unless they're like actually mining it, which we haven't come across anything to suggest. But
Well, there was a piece in the gem box, wasn't there?
yeah,
Ross got a piece from somewhere.
but we've still not come across enough to fill a wagon.
You are aware from previous when you guys investigated them and a few sessions ago, you are aware it is found all across the valley. It's not necessarily just produced jewelry or produced items or crafted. It is found in the wild, as it were, and
Okay. Well, they might be finding it like raw is the term. I don't know, like
unrefined probably is the best description. Yeah.
Yeah, if they are sort of not mining it, but you know what I mean, sort of foraging it and finding it. But and the only pieces that we've come across so far are that in jewelry or that's been sort of refined and processed. So maybe it is Shardlin, but maybe it's not. But might be worth noting.
Spellcasters among us that know about spells
One
and
of
stuff.
you.
Yeah.
No. I mean, as general, out of game. Is there a spell where you can essentially, like a metal detector almost, but of a
Locate
certain
object.
thing?
Find objects.
Scrying. Is
Find
scrying
object.
spell?
Locate
There is
object.
There's locate object. Yeah.
Okay. Could that theoretically
You need to know about the object.
a thing to locate a
It would
sharding, or is
be-
that too precise?
So the
Make a.
This is the
Arcana
reason
check.
why I'm asking. Hopes.
Yeah, make an Arcana check. Let's see how much Audrey knows about all the
19.
magic outside of what.
of what Hannah does.
outside, yeah.
You don't really study magic. You get it innately through your patron. So it's weird for you to be able to have knowledge of things that other learned spellcasters can. You don't really know how you can do the things you can. You just know you can do them. But you kind of focus on the energy within you and the powers that you've had and how you've been able to manipulate energy, manipulate arcane, and it's not something you feel is the sort of power you can command, but you are aware that if someone did have access to that skill set, there is such ways of tracking, navigating, and scrying on items.
Okay. So Adri turns to the group. It's like, well, they might necessarily not be like mining it or anything like that, but they could always just locate a magical item and look for it that way. Granted, it may not be specifically magical, but who's to say if you could scry for a lost pair of socks, why can't you scry for Shardlin?
Wouldn't you? Do you have to scry for? I don't know much about magic. My magic is limited in what I can do. But don't you have to think of a specific thing? Like if I were to think of like grass, it would take me to wherever there's grass. If you think of Shardlin, would it not be hard to locate in that way because it's not just a specific thing? It can be anywhere. Like would you not have to think of a specific Shardlin bracelet, like a very like an object,
Well,
rather than a
Make
material?
an Arcana check, Elkis and Vale, as the three people who have at least magical capability. Sorry, Celine and Gentle Steps. You guys are more of apply sharp object to problem.
well, it's like
I'm probably the most knowledgeable on arcane. I can answer
as
the
Adri again.
question.
1 second. What'd you get, you two?
17 plus 0, but 17.
Elkis, again, you're kind of picking up the magic as you go, and you learned from a very specific trainer in a very specific school. You don't really have any wider understanding of capabilities beyond your own either. Vale, you're an arcane tricks? No, you're a shadow.
I'm a wild ranger.
Yeah. You're aware that magic doesn't necessarily have to be specific. That you don't know how to do it or how it could be done, but you were aware that you could find a type of thing. Like if you wanted to find rubies, you could find rubies. It wouldn't have to be a specific one.
So they could be using. I mean, we've come across.
It's fairly, whether or not they are or not, it's safe to assume that should someone want to, they could metal detect for Shardlin over an area using magic. Should they have the capability, it's doable. Yeah.
Okay.
So as I was only spitballing, but theoretically, it's like Shardlin was back in the day pretty much used for everything: statues, jewelry, you name it. So if they just think of a particularly large statue that was destroyed and scattered,
We know that they have some pretty good, arcane users themselves as well. We've encountered a few of them and got rid of a few of them. So, but yeah, we know that they are not like strangers to magic. So that is, that could be how they're finding it. But at least with this map, we have an idea of where they've been. And does it say anything, Rob, on the map about where they haven't been, like where they might be hitting next, as it were?
No, you and Celine heard the three of them mumbling to themselves. It's what initially drew your attention to them as they were boarding the boat, mumbling about how it's kind of a bit of a waste of time. They've got all they can find. Sending us out looking for more is pointless at this point. See, and based on that and the heavy amount of annotation on the map, you get the feeling this is whatever this operation has been going on for a while, and is probably closer to the end than the start.
Adri just kind of looks around at the dead bodies and go, right, so what do we do with these guys?
I mean, I don't know what we do with the bodies, but we need to go back and tell the speaker that there are, the speaker that didn't 100% believe us, that, they had a Duragar problem, that they have a Duragar problem, and it could be an invisible Duragar problem. So
we cut a hole in the ice, put them in, but save one of the heads.
Yeah,
Let's just take one whole body with us. How about that?
It's heavy.
Or we could leave them
For
here
you.
and just go send your guards. There are some dead bodies on a boat.
We could. What if somebody comes and cleans it up afterwards?
Yeah, that runs the risk of like a cleanup operation.
I can stay here and wait.
Fling a body in a
You are
bag,
the sneakiest, so you
I could
could
just-
hide better than all of
I
us.
just hide.
We could keep. I wouldn't suggest one person staying, but 2 people or 3 people could stay, and a couple of us could go and grab the town speaker and make him come here to see what's going on, because I don't think he's going to believe it unless he sees it with his own eyes.
I'll stay.
I'm happy to go and
I'll hide inside.
tell him to come.
Maybe Elkish should go to town.
Actually, he could always hide below deck. It's not fucking up then, is he? So
There's also a room.
It's still pretty noisy.
Several.
What?
I'll
Or
stay. I need to rest.
why don't we all just stay and Vale can run really fast back to town?
Elkish-
Like the town is
Elkish,
right
can
there.
you-
I can see the town.
I will persuade him to come, but if anything tries to stop me, I'm not going to be very good at, sorting them out. So Elkis, can you come with me and we'll leave these 3 here?
Yes, but you're very fast, Vale.
I am very
surprisingly,
fast, but
So leave
so
the
is
town,
Elkis.
master. No, he's not.
You'd be surprised.
I
I'm right
wouldn't.
here, guys.
Yeah, I know,
Sorry,
I know.
Alcus.
Sorry, Elkis. You're not very fast. Is that better?
True.
Elkis, come on.
What is it you guys are trying to do then?
Elkis and I are going to get the town speaker. Danith, is it? The town speaker.
Speaker Daneth, yeah.
Yeah, persuade them to come here to this boat to see what has happened here, because I don't think he's going to believe the Duragar thing unless he sees it.
Okay.
And the rest
As-
is staying there with other bodies.
As you and Elkis make your way to the end of the gangplank and you start heading back down the pier towards town, you spot, and you kind of double take for a second, you spot a fairly lanky looking dragonborn in long traveling robes, hood up, and you can just see the snout poking out. And for a couple of seconds, you just kind of dismiss it, but there is the unmistakable knowing that you've been watched, and their gaze follows you as you're walking down the pier.
Do we recognize them?
Make a Perception check.
Might be, babe.
I'd like to have a look as well. I'm proficient. I don't know if you want me to make a separate roll or I can aid.
I'd like to have a look. I'm proficient in
Well, no,
with
but
my
I'm
eyes.
Proficient with my eyes.
Idiot!
Oh.
I
Meta
am.
Sure.
I want to lean in to Elkis and say,
You
"Do
may
you
roll
know
a
that person?"
check. Good recovery, because the first part was a train wreck.
What do your goblin eyes see, Elkis?
I'm proficient with my eyes.
Ian, am I rolling again with advantage?
No, both of you roll separately, please, on this one.
Okay, 14.
Ooh, and that's 20.
Okay. You do not recognize them,
Tiny.
Mr. Elkis. You look over there, you see this. The only Dragonborn you guys have seen so far, you've known Trovis, who is the speaker of Caer Konig, and you know of, I've forgotten her name because you keep calling her Babe. God damn it.
It's because her name is Babe now. That's it.
Canon, mate. It's canon. You know what I mean?
Here.
When we do conventions, people will cosplay, babe.
And follow you around. That'd be weird.
Generic buxom dragonborn.
I don't mind. I don't mind. If you wanna follow me around with your scaly cleavage.
I don't mind. In fact, I encourage it. I'm not.
Yeah. To be fair, these two are gonna love a bit of scale love. I might need to reword that sentence.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, tits are tits.
Metro,
all
that's
over that.
No Metro it was.
That's another t-shirt I'm getting.
The Dragonborn on a nat 20. What's your total?
26 in total.
26. Jesus.
Oh, the smugness on your
Them
face
eyes, mate.
then.
Them eyes.
As they turn and kind of start moving their way back into the town, there's something not. The proportions don't seem right. They look too tall, too skinny compared to Dragonborn. You know that it looks just something that doesn't quite gel with what you know about Dragonborn. And they kind of pull the hood, they pull the robes around, and they kind of start moving their way through the town as you guys kind of make your way to the edge of the dock area.
Just gonna nudge Elkis and go, "Did you see that?"
Is that a Dragonborn thing?
Yeah, not one that we know, but they were definitely like watching us. It was weird.
Do you want me to bring them back?
Pardon?
Do you want me to bring them back?
No, I mean, they've not just, it's not a crime to watch anyone, but, hood up, they looked a bit suspicious, that's all. Just keep an eye out, I guess.
Yeah. We'll have to tell others.
Let's keep going.
Can we see where they've gone in the town?
Yeah, they follow as you're looking at the town from the port, there's a long path that kind of covers all of the mainly disused kind of fishery areas where there are areas where ships were repaired, kind of dry docks. That follows the path to the left to the kind of where the wet trout area is, where Celine's residence is, and it follows then a curve round to the left. They headed that way.
I don't think there's much we can do about it now.
Okay.
You can kind of just see them starting to vanish around the corner.
Maybe they're related to Babe.
Maybe. Don't know if it's fair to assume that all Dragonborn are related, but
I couldn't see the tongue.
yeah, true. Gonna keep walking.
Okay. Before too long, you do find yourselves back at the town inn. You make yourself known to Prudence at the main desk. You were here this morning, if I remember. It's part of the group that's been doing work for Captain Imdra.
Yeah,
Yes.
We just finished another job.
That's correct. We need to see Speaker Danith quite urgently.
Speaker Dan's not in residence at the moment. He headed out for some personal errands maybe an hour or so ago. He's expected back this afternoon.
Is the
You know
captain?
where he's gone.
It's not my business to pry, I'm afraid. I just know he took off. I can get the captain's attention for you if you can help.
Yeah, that'll do.
One moment. she vanishes through the door at the end. And before not too long, you hear the sort of click, click, click of the cleaned and proper boots on the flagstones as the door swings open, and Captain Imdra enters. If it's favourite investigators, back once more. And what is it we can help you with today?
We need you to accompany us down to the old ferry, please.
Can this not be dealt with verbally? What I've been around this, been on my feet all night. What?
I'm sorry, you need to see this with your own eyes, because
But only if
you
you're
need to.
proficient with them.
You need to see it to believe it. Let's put it that way.
See what? What is it I'm meant to be seeing?
A pile of dead Duragar in your town.
Duragar here? What? Sorry. Make a persuasion check.
They were alive half an hour ago. They attacked us.
Just so you know, I am proficient in that as well.
If you don't get a nat 20, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
I got a 12 with
Here's
a
a
plus 5.
Here's
17.
out of character, Ree. Here's a secret. I don't care if you're proficient.
And to care, that's your job.
So,
No, I care what the number is, not if you're proficient in it or not.
Okay. The number is 17 in total.
Excellent. Fine. It's better be good.
I mean, it's a pile of dead Duragar in your town. It's not good. That's definitely not a word I'd use, but
She follows. She gestures for you to lead on.
I'm going to look out for the Dragonborn as we walk back.
Make a perception check.
Not very good at these.
no, I'm not gonna.
13.
You don't spot them as you're around the town hall. As you kind of approach the dock area again, as you're moving onto the board, Imdra's kind of chuntering away and just kind of reassuring you that if this isn't worth her time, there's going to be hell to pay. For a split second, Elkish, you get a couple of glimpses across the opposite side of the dock, and you swear for a couple of seconds you see the same figure as before, just kind of keeping an eye on things. And you lock eyes for a split second, and they duck behind a building and leave.
Captain, do you have many Dragonborn in town?
I'm sure there's one or two. Yes, why?
There's quite a tall, lanky one. Seems to be keeping an eye on us. Just seems weird.
Drags me all the way out here to the docks to talk about the Dragonborn.
No, it's an aside. The Duragar over there, they're dead. They'll wait.
Show me. Let's see this.
The Duragar are the Dragonborn. Dragonborn's walked off.
I don't. What is it you dragged me out here to see?
Oh, they're
Some
dead.
dead Duragar in your town when Speaker Daneth didn't seem to believe us when we said that there are Duragar everywhere causing havoc.
No, of course. My guards have been out here patrolling night after night and have seen nothing.
Well, they're not doing a good job then, because there are a pile of dead Duragar on that ferry, and they've been there, living there, using it as a base for a while.
You can't
So,
check
come
every
and look.
build. Fine. And she steps up. Like, you can see the expression kind of begin to break down as she kind of heads towards and sees the state of the rest of you, and the bodies around, and you kind of see like almost the step falters for a second, and the professionalism kind of cracks, and there's a little audible gasp of, by the gods, what's happened here?
Speaker Daneth asked us to check out the ferry because there have been some reports of activity. So we came
That's
down
right.
here. We came down here, and we were attacked by a number of Duragar. They had been obviously living here for a while. I will say that it turns out they can be invisible, so it might not be entirely your fault that you didn't see them, but you know, they have been here for a while.
Is this all of them? Like, what are they doing here?
All the ones we saw.
Seems that they're using this area as a base for their time in town.
For what? Like, town's been empty of valuable. There's no gold here. There's no... What possible reason they have to be here?
We mentioned it already to Speaker Daneth. They're looking.
Daneth isn't here. What's going on?
But he is your commander, is he not? He's in charge of you. He's the town speaker. So surely this information should have been passed down to you.
Tell me what's going on, rather than what told other people.
They are looking for a substance called shardlin. You have a big statue of it in your town hall.
Yeah, the jewelry, the jewelers' stones.
Yeah, they're after it. We don't know why yet, but they're looking for it and they're collecting it by the wagon load. You have a map here that shows where they've been and possibly how much they've taken, but there's nothing on it to suggest that it's shardlin that they're looking for.
So they're looking for this rock because of a map that doesn't say they're looking for this. Forgive me if I don't follow at this point. I can see that they're here for sure, but what? I'm going to need more than hunches for their motives.
We've met them before at a different fortress where they also tried to kill us, and they were collecting the stuff. They murdered my mentor for it.
What's so important about this stone?
It's magical.
We don't know entirely that yet.
Adri kind of nudges Celine and goes, "This is why we deal with the higher ups."
Mm-hmm. You're just holding her head, still sitting on the floor and just kind of staring at what's her face. Just
she kind of perches on the handrail and kind of. It's a bit of a deep breath. I'll send word to the rest of the council. Make the other settlements aware of this activity and pass word around the guards and militias. So you say they can't be seen? You said they turn invisible?
They have magic users.
Yeah, they have the power to. I don't know how often, I don't know how, well or how adept they are at magic, but some of the ones that we met here were invisible when we met them, and that's how they managed to ambush us.
I think it's safe to assume these guys are pretty adept in their arcane casting abilities. They can shift forms, they can turn invisible, like
mind control. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
you didn't mean
mind control. And Adri kind of like points to the side of her cheek and looks over to Gentle Steps. Like they're pretty adept. I'm pretty sure they're very good at what they do, and quite possibly we're already fucked. As she kind of starts like trying to clean up her cheek a little bit.
I mean, this is the first instance we've heard of violence or them making themselves known.
It's not. We told you about them. We told you about them attacking us. This isn't the first instance of violence.
Here in this town, we've had no reports other than yourselves of any of these creatures attacking townsfolk, making themselves see. This is the first confirmed sighting that even existed, let alone anything else.
How many missing people are there from this town?
The first confirmed sighting because you've seen it. We told you that we'd seen them before. We
Not
told
here.
you that they existed.
You told me you were up in some fortress out in the wilderness somewhere.
And that we'd seen them in Caer Konig as well.
You don't think they'd have just taken your statue? What if someone had tried stopping them?
We know that they will kill for this substance. We've told you that too. We have first-hand experience.
And I understand that. I'm saying if they're here and invisible and hiding away in the ferry rather than attacking the guards or showing a force of violence, if they've left you lot in this state, and who's to say what they could do to the guard? I don't think they're here to be violent. If they're trying to stay out of sight, make their forms hidden.
You're not going to go in to try and steal something. You want to get in and out quickly and steal it. But if someone's going to try and stop you, we've told you that they will kill for this substance. If you want to steal something, you're not going to make yourself more trouble by, going on a rampage.
That explains why none of the patrols have reported anything or nothing's been sighted. If these remain unseen or can't be spotted.
Adri turns to the captain and is like, the reason why you haven't heard about this until we came along is because no one else gave a shit. We have a personal attachment to this. This is what we care about. Of course, there's now going to be stuff that kicked up because we actually care. Doesn't seem that anyone else does, because no one else seems to see the very obvious signs. And yes, they may be keeping it on the down low and trying to steal things, or sneaky, sneaky, quiet, quiet. Isn't that more terrifying at the fact that they're collecting all this stuff for a power that is probably far greater than any of us are going to be able to deal with? Does that not terrify you? Because it terrifies me, and I have a god that works directly with me, that gives me magical fucking powers, and I'm terrified.
Make an
And yet
intimidation
you
check.
aren't. Oh, look! I've got fucking advantage.
Do I believe, Adria, that she's got a god?
Yeah, what is this?
Sense motive, yeah, if you want to
Natural 20, 25, suck it!
Elkis, make a sense motive check if you want to question it.
It's quite funny.
Sense motive.
Insight?
That's it.
What
Sorry, we were playing Carver yesterday.
Which is quite funny because the first roll I did was a
It's a
natural
real
one.
problem, isn't it? It's a real problem. We've played
Thanks for
two.
bits, Ruffworx. Adri, I think your
Oh.
aggression got us some
17.
bits. Thank you for the
17.
roll.
You are welcome.
You see, probably for the first time since you've been traveling together,
Second time. The
that
first time we were in a store and some guy was like, I don't know what you're on about, but he's wearing super fancy
Yeah,
furs.
like-
So I like stabbed a dagger towards him and went, bitch,
You-
tell us what we want to know.
you get the feeling that in Audrey's emotional state, it's a little bit less guarded, and the comments that came out around her believing she's drawing power from a god seems like she believes it. Seems too angry to be misleading. Captain Indra kind of looks a little bit taken aback, but kind of after a second, kind of focuses herself and kind of rightens herself, as it were. And this substance that's been collected, where's it going?
Reroll.
We don't know. Honestly, we don't know that yet.
That's the concern. Is they've had ample opportunity to attack guards, to with the guards are spread thin as it is. We've had encroaching animals and encroaching dangers, and we've had to respond, and certainly the other settlements aren't as well defended. It makes no sense that they skulk around. It's
Imdra, Captain
It
Imdra.
makes a lot of sense.
if they're taking things away, it's
Captain Imdra, can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion? I'm going to look like Vale's going to sort of address her with the respect that her position sort of gives her, and she's going to be respectful towards her, and she's going to say, "Can I? Why are you laughing at me?"
No, I'm laughing at Hannah. I'm trying not to laugh at Hannah.
I'm going to say, like, respectfully, can I make a suggestion? Like, I don't mean to impose on your role in this town, but can I make a suggestion? I think that you need to find out where, if at all, there is any. Obviously, you have a big Shardlin statue in your town hall, so that either needs to be under guard, or you need to make people aware that at some point there might be an attempt to steal it. If you know of any other jewelers or smiths or anyone that keeps Shardlin in the town, you need to make them aware that owning that substance, that having that substance, is putting them in danger, because we know that they will kill for it if they have to. We know that they're being sneaky and they can be invisible and they can come in and steal it, and they obviously don't want the confrontation because, we dispatched of them. We're sort of by this point experienced in
nails.
We fought them before, but villagers and members of your town, they won't be able to, defend themselves at all.
I agree.
So you need to find out if you have any pools of Shardlin in your town, and you need to let the people know that if they want to keep hold of it, it's at their own risk, and then you need to protect the rest of it if you want to keep it. And I wouldn't suggest having it anywhere that it can be gotten, because we don't know what they're doing with it. Like Adri said, it is probably for some kind of horrible purpose that will affect all of us.
I understand, and of course, I'll send the guards and let the criers know and spread the word and send word to the other towns immediately, the other councilmen, let them know what's happening. At least now the patrols and militia and townsfolk can at least be aware of these unseen thieves.
And also, might I suggest that if You can speak to some villagers, send some guards up, speak to some villagers if they have had anything stolen, if they've noticed anything go missing, anything, not just Charlotte, any jewelry, any trinkets, any statues, anything. That information would also be good, because if, you know, we might be able to look at that information and gather some more, you know, evidence, or be able to deduce something from it of other things that they might be stealing. Because it might just not just be Charlotte.
I understand that.
Captain, I'm so sorry to interrupt, and for my outburst that I felt very passionately about. What's your standpoint on the lottery?
Each town has their ways. Each town has their superstitions and the way of dealing with these times.
Okay, but what's your standpoint? I don't care about the other towns. What's your standpoint?
My personal take on things doesn't influence my position, doesn't influence the job I take. And
I'm not asking about it being in your position of employment. I'm asking you as a person. What is your standpoint? I can't judge. Like, I get magical powers from a god.
Persuasion check.
A 14.
Like I say, it's not my personal intake on this. The town votes, the council of speakers sets their terms out. The winter persists despite our efforts. And I'm sure it's no secret to you that things are looking bleak, and this attitude of doubling down and outlasting such things is a fool's errand. And there's whispers on the wind of people looking at traveling south, searching for a path back beyond the mountains and away from the dales. It's a death sentence for those traveling without food and without resources to go that far in these conditions. But desperation is setting in.
Okay. Do you, perchance, you may not speak about it with the rest of the guards. Do you know anyone who is a lottery sympathizer who agrees that this is an amazing thing? Because maybe the Duragard have been seen by those under your command, but understand the greater purpose of what these Duragard are doing.
I don't see how these Duragard have anything to do with...
I have a feeling these Duragard have got their fingers in a lot of pies, and keeping it very quiet gives them an advantage. And what's better than having their fingers in the pies of the guards of a town? Please stop. I'm trying to roleplay. I'm trying to do good.
Tell me about it.
I did nothing.
It's no secret someplace their faith in deities and gods and of both sides of good and evil. There are people in the town that openly worship Auril and openly pledge allegiance in a hope that they'll be spared the cold and spared the hardship.
At mention of Auril's name, Adrius just kind of smirks in disgust.
Sounds all right.
There are sympathizers everywhere. The lottery aside, there are people on both sides of things, good or evil. People have their views. Some keep them quiet, some are more outward with it. I'm sure there are people within the guardship that seek to appease the gods and seek to avert themselves of hardship. I've not seen any reason to doubt their work regardless. The lottery is a desperate solution to a desperate problem.
And it's not had any kind of solution, so why are we still doing it? Why are we murdering our own people? It's been how long now? And nothing's happened.
Coming up for 2 years.
People are stupid.
Indeed.
Andrew
Or
turns
doing
to
it
Celine.
purposely.
Look, I appreciate the frustration, and I share some of that, but I don't represent the council. I don't influence the council. I protect these walls, protect the people within them, do my best to keep the town from tearing itself apart with infighting. I'm not a politician.
But do you wonder why the council keeps doing this? Does it not kind of bother you that there's something else going on, that they keep killing their own people?
I think superstitious fools will remain to be superstitious fools. People have killed in the name of gods and killed in the name of religion for generations. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Those who have influence, those who believe in ritual, believe in the appeasement of such creatures, they feel like they're doing what they can.
Rob, sorry, while this is happening, Vale's sort of keeping an eye out and looking around for anyone that might be watching us have this conversation, as we've been sort of spied on before.
Make a perception test.
With your eyes.
With your
With
with
the
your
eyes.
proficient eyes.
The
If
kitty
it matters,
ears.
I'm proficient in eyes. Yeah.
Like meerkat mode.
18
Big
in
flute for
total.
kitty ears.
You have a quick glance round. It's getting a little bit busier as kind of the lunch period kicks in and you see a few more people around. There's a couple of times when you think you spot the same figure, but nothing concrete, nothing stands out as being overtly watched.
Don't see them at all with, like, I can't pick them out at all.
But I'm afraid not.
Okay, I'm going to keep my eyes out while they're talking.
Okay. I mean, look, as I say, it's the solution to... I don't see what the solution is to this. This is a problem bigger than us all. This is powers far reaching past that of the council, those who squabble and play politics while people starve, themselves probably included, before too long. It's pride of their towns, pride of their posts. No one wants to admit defeat. None of the towns want to admit that they can't feed their people, that they can't provide in the positions that they were posted to. I dare say we have months before our stores run dry, and unless something changes, it'll take a turn for dark times.
At this point, Adri, you can see that Adri starts to tear up and she just walks away to the head of the boat.
Now, I appreciate I'm glad that you're all right, and aside from a few injuries, at least you're all breathing. I've got many things to do in the breaking of this news. For one, I need to keep the townsfolk quiet. I would appreciate an element of decorum and privacy around these matters, so not to incite panic. I'll speak to the speaker. We'll send word to the other speakers, the towns, and let them know the developments, what they should be looking for, and to double the efforts of guard. And we can ask around. I don't see what else we can do. I don't, like, there's nothing, no information you can glean on where they're coming from, where they're based, where this material's traveling to.
We spoke to, I can't remember if we informed yourself about it, but we've definitely told Speaker Daneth about the Duragar camp that we found and managed to sort of get ourselves into, where we found some shardlin and some notes between them.
You say there was wagon loads. Was the wagon loads there? Was a store?
We only found some in what we think was like an office or like a study, like a smaller room. We found a few pieces. We still have them. However, we haven't come across wagon loads of the stuff, but I'm sure that we're going to continue as we have a personal investment.
Where's the map, Vale?
I have it.
Can I borrow it?
Yes, I'll hand it over to Gentle Steps.
I'll unroll the map. Captain, what do you know of this place? And I'll point at Spitfire Death Sunforged Castle of Doom.
I'll
Look it up.
translate. I'll translate if Gentle Steps needs me to, because it's in English.
I mean, Gentle Steps, you know the mountain range pretty well. It's the same range. I mean, the mountain range is the entire south side. It
Shitloads of
separates,
stone triangles. I'm on it.
it separates the Icewind from the rest of the Sword Coast, effectively, and it goes on for tens of hundreds of miles. It's where you, well, it's where you reside from. You don't recognize any spaces in there, and Captain Indra looks and kind of pulls over the map for a second, and I mean the areas around the outside of the Dales are poorly mapped at best. The landscape changes so drastically with ice flows, parts breaking off the sea, the snow shifts. But these mountain ranges, as we don't travel that far south. The old trade routes closed off 2-3 years ago when the weather took the worst and became too treacherous to pass. I don't think anyone's made the trip in many months.
So nothing.
This the language I don't understand, but the markings here, nowhere I recognize, nowhere that appears on any documents I've seen.
Indra, do you recognise? Sorry, General Step.
That's all I needed.
Indra, do you recognise the it's hard to word, the person that might have created this map? Because the map that we have is the same pretty much, but unannotated. Is there like a maker's mark that you'd recognise? It's a carbon copy, but they have this map that they've obviously acquired, possibly from the same place that ours was made, and they've annotated it. So maybe if we could find the person that made the map, we might be able to find out where they have been.
These maps are freely available across the Dale.
Oh, okay. It's not a specific person that makes them, or there's nothing about this map that...
I think the cartographer who an old adventurer type who used to travel around and wanted to map the wilderness in the younger years. I believe they reside in Bryn Shandar, but I don't think they make hundreds of them. Many of these, and they were in the town halls for travelers and for tourists and adventurers like yourselves, freely available.
You know the name of the cartographer?
Do in a second.
I say yes, but give me a minute.
While you're thinking on that,
Call me Sherlock Vale.
Celine, you might want to go check on Andrew.
Vale.
I was about to. Celine.
The
Brian?
What that was from
yes.
Should we go and do a little bit more role play while you're looking for a name?
Is if memory serves, it's an old researcher named Macredus. He, in his younger years and before the ice took over, used to travel out. Used to take his sleds out and come back gleeful of new mountain ranges or new ice flows, and just updated the maps a few years back.
Yeah, he maps these places, so he would, if he's mapped them, he's been there surely, or he has an idea of the area. So it might be, that's just me thinking out loud almost to the group that it might be worth a visit.
She points at the map and goes, but these areas these aren't on the normal maps. The mountain range is empty as far as we're aware. This it's been added on afterwards. I'm not sure.
He still might know something of it.
Maybe.
It's just an assumption. But yeah.
Maybe.
Macredus in Bryn Shandar. Thank you.
While everybody's chatting, Celine finally manages to get up, dusts herself off a bit, cracks back, and walks over towards Adri. Just nudges her a bit while they're all having a talk.
Adri just kind of wipes away a few tears and goes, "Oh, hey, how's your head?"
Fine. It'll be okay.
There's blood cascading on both of your faces.
Hair is all like crunched up with
Fine.
blood and stuff. We're just kind of both kind of like just on the side of the ship, just staring into the distance. Need a bit of rest.
Yeah, I think I just need to sleep. I think just today's been a lot. You know, mind control, being smacked by gentle steps. You know, it's hardly a confidence booster.
What
you know?
did happen down there? Celine's gonna ask her for a recap of.
All right, so went down. I saw a map. Then you were like, hide. So I was like, I know, smart. Turn into a Duragard. And I kind of punched them on the table, and I hear some shuffling. I'm like, it's probably nothing. Paper's falling or something. Nope. It was a Duragard who was invisible and made me try to stab Elchris. Luckily, I'm a shit shot, so that didn't happen. And then we were trying to fight it, and it's just it was a lot. And then it took over Gentle Step's brain, and
They did what?
yeah,
tried to
mind
hit you
control, and just
Selena looks back at Gentle Steps and goes like, well, it's good to know that there's something in there to take over.
Well, most
Adri
intelligent
kind
of the party, but anyway. Cheeky bastards.
Adri just kind of laughs a little bit, and it's like, yeah, it's just, you know,
You used a mess.
it's too much. It's all been a lot today, and it's what? She looks up at the dark sky and goes, I don't know, 9 p.m., 9 a.m., anything. And it could be anything. And it's just been a long day already.
It's pie time.
She'll nudge her again and have a sigh and just turn around and look back at the group. Are we done here? Can we continue this conversation somewhere else, please?
Yep, pie.
And pie. Yes.
Food does sound pretty good.
And looks at crunchy, bloody hair. I'm a little worn out.
Do you need more healing?
In a bit. It's okay. I just need to stop for a couple of hours.
Let's just not get stabbed on the way home. And she just
We
kind
got the
of
good.
knocks the side of the boat.
We have the good captain with us, and the rest of them will be fine.
Good.
I'll post
To be nice to her.
I'll post a couple of men at the
Captain.
docks and keep this area cordoned off for now until we can clear this up. Like I say, we'll send word to the other towns and let them know of the developments. Advise the people the risks if they are holding this substance, and double our investigatory efforts to see if check wagons, check traders, and try and see what's the root of all this.
Did Mr. Talkie Man offer us a purse for this job? Or was that the stuff for the other job, right? We're getting paid for this one.
We
This
got
one.
a scroll, I think, and
We did.
a bag.
That was for the cannibal.
Yeah, that was for the hag, right?
For the information. We did information for information. We didn't get a lot back of our side of the deal, so I think we got these pieces, and then we said we'd check out down here as well because we have a personal investment in sorting this out as much as a financial one.
Yeah, Adri pulls out the skull and the little bag and goes, I don't actually know what these do.
That's good.
Try them?
Aye, and you can figure that out.
Nah,
Let's go
fuck
try and
it.
see what it is.
She puts her hand in the bag, pulls what feels like a mass out, and throws it.
Okay, that just happened. That's a table I wasn't expecting to have to look up right now.
Well, I'm in a group of people that I trust, so...
Can you roll me a d8, please?
With no hit points.
Is it throwing wild animals at us?
Nope. It said T-Rex. But don't
Natural
worry.
one.
Oh,
And that one.
That one.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
On a
What
d8.
about the reroll?
On a D8.
Okay, that's fine. You throw as you reach into the bag, and like I say, it feels much more heavy and full of stuff. But when you put your hand in, there's just a single, almost spongy, small item, and you pull it out, and it's just this small, kind of like grey piece of fur, and you throw it. It bounces and rolls a couple of times on the deck, and nothing seems to happen. And then there's a small swirl of grey mist energy, and then all of a sudden you hear this kind of
Adri steps back a little bit in
just a small
anticipation.
squeaking noise, and as the mist there is a small Arctic white weasel that starts scampering around and kind of runs up to you and starts running around the bases of your legs and kind of looks up at you, kind of mixture of inquisitive and kind of almost looking ready to see what you want.
Malchus, detect evil.
It's so cute.
just
Veil's
gold,
like-
just gold tease it off the front of the hammer.
Sebastian,
Kill it!
stand by.
Like if Adri wasn't tearing up before, she is now because of how cute this thing is, and she kind of just like scoops it up and like holds it to her chest.
Divine
Veil's more bestial side comes out, and she just sort of snarls at it.
like to cast Divine Sense.
You may.
Celestial Fiend or Undead within 60 feet.
It is not any of the above.
We're good, gentle steps.
Okay. None of that was
She's a
evil.
Bowie knife.
Sebastian goes back.
So you just slowly glare at them to just like stay away from the fluff.
If the fluff attacks,
After-
it's dead.
Being distracted
Yeah,
by a small
the-
fluffy thing, I'm going
The weasel kind of scampers around the boat for a second and then sorry, did you say pick it up? It kind of looks around and kind of taken aback a little bit when it kind of notices Vale there. Makes
Yeah,
makes
you
makes
get a-
weasel
you get a
noises.
Woof.
That's it, yeah. What did weasel
Angry
go?
squeaky weasel noises.
Have Weasel on
I'll just pat it on the head and be like, it's okay.
Aye.
It
Weasel.
kind of like burrows itself into the furs and into the kind of the warm weather clothing.
So now.
I think we need to feed this little one.
No, we don't. Malchus is
I
eating.
think that we don't need another mouth to feed, but we definitely don't need a pet.
We already won't use the ever feeding.
Celine, I
dog.
think it's okay. It's a magical creature. I don't think we need to feed it.
We are all
Alright.
magical
I
creatures.
think we're okay.
You're a magical creature. Do you need to eat?
Remember,
Did I just
it's
pull you out
Sleeve
of the bag?
intelligence.
I'm
Remember that-
definitely a creature, and I need to eat, and Weasel looks good right now, so...
Don't you dare! As Adri just like holds this
As
thing
it, like,
closer
just kind
to
of-
her.
The weasel kind of hisses at Vale and kind of burrows its head into you.
Adri also
Yeah.
also hisses at Vale.
Every
Get really
party.
close to the Weasel,
Every
even like
party.
invading Adri's space, and just goes, my teeth are bigger. Just growl at the Weasel.
We're good if we're not eating the Weasel.
No, we are not eating the weasel.
Andrew just kind of flicks Vale on the nose and goes, "No!"
At no
Okay.
point did I ever
Just
contemplate
Vale
that
alone.
a bag of tricks would be used as a food source in the campaign.
But it was.
I mean, if it was a chicken,
Oh, God.
I mean, this is the cauldron on a smaller scale, is it not?
Oh,
Like,
Oversight.
chicken.
As a DM 101 right there.
Are we down then?
Oh,
Staying
Jesus.
on the boat?
Okay, what is the
Okay.
plan? Captain Imdra is kind of going to look at this strange situation unfold.
I forgot she was here.
I've
We're not always like this.
got preparations
We
to
are.
make, and
We really are.
look, stay safe, and if you have any more information to share, we'll send word, and I appreciate if anything else comes up that may help you, let us know. And
Same goes for you. If you find anything out, please share it if you can, if we're around.
stay safe. And she kind of turns, clicks her heels, and power strides off.
I'm going to follow, like, as she walks away, I'm going to watch her and the surrounding area around her until she is out of sight.
You see her reach the end of the dock, head past towards the corner post where there are two of the East Haven guard, and you see her kind of speak to them. They kind of snap to attention, and two of them make their way towards the end of the pier and kind of
No one follows her as she walks away. No dragon
Make-
ball or anything
make
like
a perception check for me, please.
that. 12.
12. She heads right at the dock and heads back towards the town hall. As you kind of look your gaze across the docks and scan, you see at the very, very far left, right at the edge of the residential area, the same brown cloaked, lanky, dragon-born figure.
How far away are they?
from where you are across the dock, a couple of 100 feet.
I'm gonna walk towards them, and just as I walk away, say, "Elkis, they're still watching us," and then stride towards them. Can you let me know if I get within 90 feet, please?
As you start walking towards them, they turn and start walking away.
I'm gonna keep following them if I can, and hope that Elkis will explain to the rest of them where I'm going.
The rest of you literally just see Vale just start power striding off down the dock.
Are we going back to town?
Come on.
Let's go.
Blaine's a bit worried.
We follow.
And Vale takes a sharp left at the dock and starts heading to the edge of town.
I'll follow.
The opposite direction of kind of where the town centre is, as it were. Vale, as you continue walking, following the Dragonborn continues heading across the very, very outskirts of town. And then heads out across the snow, and you see in the distance a number of shacks and a part of town that looks really run down. And at the very, very kind of back end of that, you see a residence. There seems to be just wisps of smoke coming out of the chimney on what appears to be a completely boarded up, disused house. And the Dragonborn creature continues walking towards that.
Do I manage to get within 90 feet of them?
You would have to break into a run, or like they basically you're walking 30 feet, they're walking 30 feet. You're following them, but you're not closing or losing distance.
Okay, I'm going to keep following them. If they go out of sight at any point, if they go in the building, I won't run. But if they continue past the building or keep walking, I'm going to run.
Okay. The rest of you, as you guys get to the end of the dock, and you're probably a couple of 60, 70 feet behind Vale. Vale seems to be following, or seems to be, you don't see any figure. Vale heads to the edge of town and starts leaving town and heads out and into the snowbanks.
We're following, or at least I am. I'm assuming everyone else is.
Yeah, I was following as close as I could.
Where is she going? What did she
Dragonborn.
see? Did anybody else see it?
Dragonborn.
Maybe someone's down a well.
A dragonborn.
She's a cat, not a
Babe?
dog.
Not in my world.
It wasn't Babe.
It's actually another weasel. I'm just really... no.
After probably the next 20, 30 seconds or so, the figure draws parallel with the building, and they stop, and they kind of glance over their shoulder, and kind of look around, and you kind of for a second make eye contact, and then the door opens and they slip inside. The door closes.
I will start running now that they're outside towards the door.
The rest of you
alone.
The rest of you just see now, just cresting over the distance, this Celine, you know it as kind of an old it was almost like a stabling yard where people would leave trade goods, or they'd leave like a guard outpost where trade goods could be checked in or out of the town away from the actual walled area of the city, and could be used as an outpost outside of the city walls if the gates were closed. As far as you're aware, it hasn't been in use for years, and it was boarded up and declared abandoned. You see now wisps of smoke come from the chimney of the building at the back, and you see Vale hauling arse across the snow towards the building.
Elkis mutters a prayer.
All fours. All fours.
Gains a spell slot.
Say again, sorry, Elkis. I didn't hear you over Vale.
I'm going to use my mutter a prayer to myself and use my channel divinity to regain a spell slot.
Okay. So as you kind of start heading, you mutter a few words to Saloon and feel a portion of your energy come back to you.
I take to the rooftops.
There aren't any rooftops. You're running across open snowdrift.
I thought they'd just gone in a building.
They've gone into a building. You're still... There's like the edge of town, a few hundred feet of nothing, and then this small couple of buildings.
All right. Well, when we get to the couple of buildings.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah,
sure.
Sorry, yeah. I swear there's a building.
Celine's gonna turn to the...
Are you guys running after her? Are you just moseying on?
gonna go to the edge of the thing at least.
Are you running or are you just walking?
Well, I'm gonna tell the group that place is supposed to be abandoned. Another place that they missed clearly.
Vale's pulling 180, 200 feet ahead of you and is approaching the room, approaching the building.
If Vale is running, so am I.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll break into a jog as much as I can.
Well, it's not abandoned. I'll shout back at Celine.
So Vale, you draw level with the building. You glance over your shoulder and you see the rest of the party kind of catching up with you. They're probably 12, 15 seconds behind you. Let's make this sensible. 18 seconds behind you or so. You pull level with the door.
The door that they went in,
Yes.
I am gonna turn around and see that they're behind me, and then I'm gonna go round behind the building,
Okay.
and if there's any kind of, should I check for back exits and make sure that they're not going off in the distance?
Sure.
Because
Make
we've
an
had this trick played on us before.
Make an investigation check. 10. You make a lap around the building. You do see a rear door, like a porch door that seems partially collapsed and heavily boarded up. There seems to be boards nailed and driven in with snow, ice, and frost. It looks very unused and looks like it would take a considerable effort to exit or enter. The rest of you see Vale vanish behind the building.
I'm gonna then move from the back of the building to sort of back in their eyesight, but sort of just to the side, so I can still see the boarded up door, but they can still see me.
Okay.
So I've got eyes on both, really.
So the rest of you catch up. You close the gap.
I say to Celine, don't stop, and I'll go through the door. I'll just nod at Vale and go straight through the door.
Make a strength check.
Is it not open?
It's closed. The door is closed.
Yeah, but I mean, is it not locked? Like,
You're
I'll be going in a one motion.
Are you stopping to see if it, or are you just not breaking stride? Like, as I understood it, you were
I'm
just
not breaking stride. I'm just going to go through it.
Yes! Like, I'll check if it's locked.
Railroad it.
On the fly sort of approach.
I'll check if it's locked with my body.
Strength check. Strength check.
I'll just look like.
Oh, look, Goliaths. 19.
This is like me yesterday. Like, oh, look, plus 23 strength. Excellent.
Not quite there yet. 19, mate.
Okay. You smash through the door with all the grace, subtlety of only a Goliath can manage.
Goliath rogue.
I'm just gonna think to myself,
Step
like,
smash.
why did I bring them? Why did I?
You can bring us anywhere.
You go smashing through the room. You find yourself kind of... It's an odd sight. There is this very much decrepit room that is kind of this dampness to it, this mildewiness mixed with wood smoke and mixed with this slightly like sour taste that catches in the back of your nose. You kind of scan around the room quickly as your kind of survival instincts kick in. You spot the fireplace that is small, kind of modest fire kicking out heat into the house. There's water dripping from the ceiling and from the beams where ice is melting around the kind of rime encrusted interior. You glance around and kind of take in. You spot the cloaked dragonborn figure towards the back of the room that looks as shocked as probably you do going in. As you glance around the rest of the room, you do spot two other creatures that stand about 3.5 feet off the ground. These small reptilian creatures that look far smaller and
bastard kobolds.
not like the dragonborn. They're a lot smaller, a lot wirier. Seem a little bit more weaselly, to use that. Oh, we've already got a weasel.
Triggered.
And then sat at the table in these dark blue, kind of greyish desaturated blues with a fur hood up, just kind of sat nursing what seems to be a steaming mug of tea.
Blue eyes.
I thought you were going to say
It's a female figure, probably towards her late 40s, early 50s. And he's just sat there, just kind of looks up and seems a little bit unbemused that you just keep smashing through the door. And that is where we will take a break.
Yes, we are there with 3 kobolds in a trench coat, apparently. A snake, Pettigrew, Voldemort, another hag, a giant snake, an evil wizard, and Marbolo, apparently. I mean, this is going to be a fight, kids.
And all of them have blue tongues.
They are all place your bets. They are your
Dum-dum-dum.
options.
Yeah. So, as Roberto's just said, it is break time. Stick around. We're going to be going about 10-15 minutes tops where we go grab a drink. Bio break. And we shall return for the second part of whatever Rob's got installed for us. And the lovely, eloquent, poetic door smash. So, break time. Bye-bye.
Derby.
Rob's not back. It's not back.
Oh, Rob's not back. Well, we're live now. Hi, people. We're waiting for the dungeon master. So the artwork you can see of our lovely characters is done by Tony, aka Elkis the Paladin. I believe, Tony, do you have a place people can go look at your artwork?
I am on both Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. But it's Buy Me a Donut because I don't like coffee.
Buy me a coffee. So you can find him in Starbucks every Wednesday morning. Just sat there with a cup. So if we go to Patreon now, .com, and I want to find you, what am I searching, Tony?
It would be Art of Tonite, I believe.
Art of... That's not doing what I wanted it to. Give me a moment. Art of T-O-N-I...
T-I.
Tonite. Hey?
I believe it's that.
Art of T-O-N-I-T-I.
Yep, but all one word.
Well, it didn't find you. That's great.
It's either that or Tony Heath Art.
I'll send you the link to the Buy Me a Coffee. You've got that.
Tony... Are you Tony Heath
I am Tony Heath.
Art? Oh, why is it not finding you?
Art of Tonite, there it is.
Send the link to me because it won't let you put it up in the Twitch.
Copy. I shall put it in the chat.
Oh, we've got the Dungeon Master back and some spooky music. So
We
I'm
have
just...
a Dungeon Master.
I forgot Syrinscape's been running all this time, and you were still on the boat of the top of a ferry.
Right, so those in chat, if you wish to go and give Tony some love, and you like his cool little outfit, you get to see boobies as well.
There is occasional boob and some butt.
There's no boob?
Wait, let me post the
There is
link.
boob. There's
I have
boob.
Oh, there is boob.
There's occasional butt, and very, very occasionally there's a bit more.
It's like the best OnlyFans you've ever
Yay
seen.
for smart!
It's cute,
That
smart.
is great.
It won't let me post the link in the.
Put it in the chat, Rhea, and I'll put it.
I've sent it to you on Facebook.
Okay, I'll sort that out for you.
That's not the same thing as putting it in the chat, is it?
No.
Well,
Roberto,
I'm not on Zoom on the phone. I'm on Zoom on the thing, and I'm finding the link on my phone. So I did my best.
Roberto, over to you for part 2.
Thank you very much. So, we're going to jump straight back in. Gentle steps. You smash your way through the door in a shower of snow, sweat, and wooden splinters.
All right.
You have just hauled arse across a snowdrift.
It is minus 50 out there, and I live here.
You're a Goliath!
Minus 40.
You don't care that much about the call. Anyway, you smash into this room and you see a number of these small, hunched-over reptilian creatures, of the mixtures of these dark, kind of earthy browns, these greyish, and assortment of tusks, horns, and scraps of leather and fabric kind of wrapped around them. A elderly woman, human woman, sits at the table. She has kind of close-cropped white hair that kind of messily sits around, and the pair of rather nice-looking fur kind of mittens kind of laid on top of each other on the table, and she's nursing a mug of some sort of steaming beverage next to the fireplace. And you see a few personal belongings, a few books and bags and whatnot around the room. The woman looks up at you, and you see kind of a heavy wrinkled face. One of the eyes is hidden behind a leather patch secured with a band around. The other eye kind of is this sparkling blue that kind of almost hints at a youthfulness despite her age. And despite your dramatic entrance, she just kind of, she looks up and you see kind of this half smile across her face. Shall we invite the rest in?
I followed in.
They should already be on their way in.
Pick yourself up off the floor and
I'm on the floor.
find you. Well, fair enough. In my head, you smashed in and I don't know. I didn't
Through a
mean you
small
before.
door.
I mean,
You were like,
I
Okay,
don't
fine.
mind. I just need to know.
In gentle steps, more.
I'd just rather know.
Dust yourself off, make yourself at home, take a seat. And,
Well stunned.
tea?
Oh yes, I'll sit. I'll have a brew. Yes.
for the meantime, Celine's just kind of like looking inside, going, "You all
And
right there?"
She snaps her fingers, and one of the reptilian creatures begins filling a drinking vessel from a kettle hung over the fire.
Whisper back up to Celine. I think we found the other sister.
Let's not go there yet. Get it? And she'll nudge them a little bit. For a second, I forgot Elkis's name. I'm like, Tony?
I'm not
I'm
Tony.
I'm like, Tony?
Hey,
Yeah,
you're working
she'll
out,
nudge
Abby,
Elkis.
We'll
She'll
hit
nudge
the-
them a little bit, be like, "Zh."
Do you all enter the building?
I'm in
Yes, very slowly and apprehensively, just kind of looking around, going towards General. You okay there, bud?
Do the little dudes look like me?
No. They're about your height. Their limbs are longer. They imagine a dragonborn that's done the mother of all cut cycles. Like, they are gangly, they are
halfling size.
they're more bone than muscle. They
That's steady state cardio.
yeah, it's like they are very much. They're definitely draconic-y reptilian in nature. They have this like long sort of draconic-y snout and kind of crest of horns, claws and clawed feet, and they kind of have this lizardy kind of hissing kind of language about them as this hunched over one with these kind of tattered robes finishes pouring.
I'll look at the old woman. Are these creatures kobolds?
They are.
Elkis, they're kobolds.
Oh,
You
That's
see
just
now.
look between
well,
them two, just.
well, one of them kind of holds this scaly claw, extends this mug over to for gentle steps. You see the larger creature kind of take the robes off, and you can see a pair of kobolds. One hops off the other one, and they sort of spread around the room, and they kind of take up post. And there's a total of, you see 4 of them in total. One of them does very much catch your attention in the fact that there is what appears to be a large burn and part of the flesh and muscle and organic tissue missing around the chest and the lower part of the face, where you can see kind of the back rows of teeth through where the lower jaw is dissing away. And you see this pulsating green light where the eyes are. The rest of them seemed fairly functional kobolds.
I'll take the brew.
Pretty good tea. It's pretty good tea.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's like from the Dales themselves.
Icewind.
Yorkshire Windale.
It's all clear.
I mean, it sounds good.
If there ever was a homebrew, that is it.
The home there.
Homebrew. Wow.
Oh, I found
Homebrew
that.
brew.
That is.
Right, stop. Come on.
Are the rest of you just gonna stand there, or?
I'm still around the corner.
They're going to proceed to talk to you for the next 4 hours.
I'm sure they
All of them will ask you the same question, but worded differently. But it is the same question.
Are you
are. Yeah, not the easiest group to keep track of, despite your
Then you're
best
not very
efforts
good
of-
at tracking.
It's not the easiest
yeah.
times for someone like me to be out and about.
Why?
And why would you want to be tracking us?
Sorry, but just a quick, like you. Like,
A magic dealer, dear, a wizard, as it were.
I'm out.
You've
oh.
probably you
Andrew takes a seat. It's like magic, you say?
How
Did
big's
you
the
hear the
room?
general steps? I'm hard to track.
Oh,
What she
they're
said
not
out
gonna
is-
live this one down.
She said out this is she found it hard to track you, therefore she's terrible at tracking. Not, that's
Nah,
the
Elkis is good at hiding.
An absence of her skill doesn't give you proficiency.
Andrew just turns and goes, "Look, not all magic is easy, yeah? Not all
Tea
magic
for-
is easy."
Tea for anyone else?
Is it
it's
magic?
good tea. It's good.
Yes, please.
Not magic.
Celine will
teas,
creak
just tea,
down and sit on the
cold.
floor.
I'll have a tea.
Just tea.
She gestures, and the kobold makes the rounds, and those who accept are handed a clawed hand.
Yours
Hands
is
you
a bit lumpy, Celine.
pretty decent cup of tea as far as it goes. Right.
The
then.
tips.
Can I make my way round and stand in the doorway? So I'm.
Cast divine sense. Anything?
Mate.
on the-
Yes, one of the kobolds is very much undead.
And nudge gentle steps. And I'm assuming it's a glowy one.
It's the one that looks like it's
Okay.
half dissolved and
What?
Look.
I'll lean to Elkis as he nudges me. Go on, tell me, Elkis.
That one.
Noted.
that zombie kobold's undead. Yeah. Are you
Celine,
proficient
hear
with your
this?
eyes as well?
Because she'll just be looking at them like,
Andrew kind of like gestures to all of the little kobolds and goes, "So, it's with the small gang."
With your friends.
A good help can be hard to find.
I know.
Why has that one got half a face though?
It's undead.
He had a disagreement.
Really, Elkis?
He had a disagreement with a colleague of mine, shall we say?
Is the colleague dead?
We'll get on to
Your
details.
colleague's a bit shit.
We'll get on to details as and when we need them.
Kind of
Oh.
need those details now.
I wondered how
Yeah.
long it would take you to make your way to East Haven and find the ferry. I figured it would have probably got here a day or so earlier since the mountain expedition.
Can you just explain yourself? Like, why are you following us? Start from the beginning.
I'm
Also-
not following anyone. You're the ones who came here.
You just said
If
No,
you
your mates were following us.
I wasn't
Also,
following you.
If you say that we're hard,
We
if
followed
you
them back in.
if you're saying we're hard to track, how do you know where we've been?
Said you're hard, not impossible.
so you have been following us. Stop gaslighting.
Been tracking you.
Sorry.
Tracking you, it seems like far too much effort. I have ways. I have my ways of keeping eyes on things. But
So
look,
again,
Aye.
Look, let's start on the right foot. I'm certainly aware of all you are. You may as well know who I am. I'm Velin.
The Lynn.
Violin.
Velin.
I'm
From the
Vigente.
Harpell estate, from down outside of Waterdeep.
I'm
What's
Gentle
Velin?
Steps.
Velynne.
I'm
For
Gentle
those-
Steps
I
is,
spelt it right.
Gentle.
Forgot what you said already.
Steps like walking steps. Like there's
You can
tears.
spell a name out in character.
And
Did I-
Elkins is
did
just
I
adding to
stop
their
it?
list of things to kill.
Now, as you're probably aware, the Town v Staven and their wonderful captain are not the most receptive of those arcane practitioners such as myself, as you've no doubt seen.
I turned to the rest of the group. I'm like, I like her already.
Inconvenience, to say the least.
When motion carry on, just keep sipping her tea because she's still in bits.
The investigations were going well until
Nobody's that
Dazan
bad.
decided to cause a scene and get himself executed, and pretty much guarantee no further help from this town, or let alone be seen in public without attracting the pitchfork locals.
You're part
Wait,
of
so
the
you were helping the town?
I've not been helping the town, no. Gives you that idea.
I have no idea. What do you
I've
need
lost
help
this
with?
conversation. I'm gone.
Sorry, all I heard was help, and I think I.
She wanted help
Continue.
from the town, Audrey, not the other way around.
Sorry. Continue. I
The town has its
probably got
information.
concussion.
The people in the town have their information. They have their archives, gossip travels, and several people. And if you overhear the right conversations, ask her the right questions, and
What gossip are you after?
looking for something. Travelled long from the south. Travelled here with set out in search of. I'll not to put too fine of a point on it. Powers to change the world around us, and
You have a magical weasel.
I can see that. Yes, lovely fellow he is.
We can
So
all-
cute, right?
Is it an item? What are you looking for?
Is it this?
Not.
Have I got some shadow? Did we pass it around each other?
Yeah, you could probably between you.
We've
Probably
all
could-
got some.
Yeah.
If you, yeah.
We have all got a piece. To
I'll hold my piece out.
Hey!
Pieces out.
Stop
there.
it! We were doing so.
We were
doing
doing
so
best
well.
In my defence, Rob was the first person to jump on with the wee.
That's why. But I apologise on behalf of myself, the crew.
Disgusting.
Like yourself
I will-
down.
Short Rest Tavern as a whole. Yeah.
Right.
Myself later. You. I mean, that's partly. I mean, find that anywhere if you know where to look. It's
Yeah, we noticed that. I'll put
it's
it back.
good for parlor tricks and those who
Ignore
dabble
that.
in.
What are you after?
It's not what, it's where.
Alright, where are you after?
I'm looking for a city.
The lost city that doesn't actually exist but definitely exists.
The one and the same.
I really like her, and you can see that like Adria's like visibly excited at the fact that someone else believes her.
Is this the city that Roads of Explorers have asked me to take them to, and I've told them that they're silly?
Yes.
I've believed in this city too.
Imagine
Just-
so. There's
Yeah, because you're a bae.
That was me asking Rob. Just
we put the rumors out years ago to see how many adventurers would find their way up here and see what they uncovered before we ventured here ourselves, and it seems plenty took solace in those rumors and ventured into the wilderness to their deaths, and their loss is our gain.
I have no idea what everyone's on about, so I'm just gonna go sit with one of the kobolds and just say hi.
The kobold looks probably as confused about your appearance as you do about its. And look, if a kobold
Selene
could
is
give the
just-
look of the fuck are you,
It's where Morph eats me, Chaz. Is that
Celine is just making sure that Elkis is not sitting next to the kobold that they might accidentally,
obliterate?
divine
Smite. Fury of the small smite.
It's very quiet.
And alive.
Elphys gets a bit bonky with the hammer.
I'll
Whack
just
a kobold.
stare at Elkis and just keep staring at them like,
Look,
tea.
let me
Are
explain.
you following us to hope that we find it?
Not exactly. I
Why are you following us?
hoped you'd made more progress by now, but it seems you have got yourself tied up with some Duragar that have crawled out of their holes and
There's less
decided
tied
to...
up and more self-defense. You've got the town over here that don't know what's going on. You've got the other 9 towns don't know what's going on. We brought them a magic
Towns
eating
now.
pot. Nobody
when
wants
have-
to give them it. People are starving, but we don't get. We dangle carrots to these people. You have to understand.
Since when
following
do
us.
townsfolk and politicians ever know what's going on?
I don't know. I live in the snow.
Look, the rumours around the city we have reason to believe are true, and that an old city of Ithrin was lost to time in these parts centuries ago, one of the ancient citadels of the Netherese. It's an ancient people of mages and mastery over arcane with power not seen since, to hold the tides back, to push back the sun, the night sky, to pull mountains out of the earth and change the paths of time itself. And
Sounds lovely.
me and my people have been dedicated our lives to the flow of magic and pulling power from the weave to shape the world, to keep the worst from affecting its people.
When you say your people, how do you refer to yourselves?
How do you think we refer to ourselves?
The one eye.
Brotherhood, perhaps? Something like that?
Do you all have one eye?
No, just me. That's
How'd
an
you lose
accident
it?
from years back.
What was the accident?
How do you refer to yourselves?
It's the Brotherhood of the Arcane. We're a
There we are.
series of group of us set out a few months ago after learning all we could before the towns fell into too much disrepair, and we kind of thought we'd better take action. The city's out here, I'm sure of it, but unfortunately my companions seem to not understand the value of teamwork, not value the level of collaboration, of sharing of information.
Cults
Zahn set
usually go that way.
Dazan set
Just like
off
you
on
said.
his Dazan set off on his own, got himself captured after taking advantage of people he hired, and found himself tied to that stake a few nights back. And Nas, the backstabbing bastard, decided to take... He took an artifact of mine, a relic that was the storage, shall we say, of my information, my research, knowledge built up over years of this place. And since then, I've been a little bit lost, to be honest with you. And lo and behold, a group of townsfolk start venturing out, and can't say I'm not surprised. I expected a few of you to fall, you seem to have made a name for yourself in these parts and seem fairly capable.
Andrew, have you got that that book holder that we got given at
The book bag.
the town hall?
The bag! I've got the bag, yeah. She
I have
kind
it.
of holds it up.
I'm gonna just grab it off.
Oh,
Take it
sorry.
off there, because, yeah. And say, do you recognise this at all?
Ah, yes, that appears to have belonged to Dazan before he met his fiery end.
I mean, there wasn't a book in it, but it looks like it might have contained a book, so I don't know if that's what he might have stolen off of you.
No, it's carries his spell book in it. It's a little bit garish for my taste. I don't try to draw too much attention to my practices, as it were, but each to their own. No, he took from me a Professor Orb, a artifact specialised in knowledge and research, and has deep understanding of the natural world around it. A source of information I've gathered over years of exploration, trawling through books and archives, anywhere the mention of the Netherese or this city in the north, the long since fallen citadel, lost to time. I was getting close, narrowed it down to these dales, and fairly reasonable idea it's still around.
Did you keep the orb on you at all times?
It was taken. We were supposed to charter a ship maybe 10 days ago. First set out here. Myself, Nars, Dazan, and another who made their own way here. And unfortunately, they saw me as weak, as frail as these young men do, and took out on their own. Unfortunately.
Carter, a ship in these seas. I'm sorry, what?
Yes, dear, there's more to these lands than the Dales. There's the ocean to the north. The glacier extends for miles. We've had to traveling through the mountains was deemed too risky. The skies aren't safe. While the sea is treacherous, between the group, we figured we could guide it safely. But seems they had other ideas, and the night before we were set to depart, Naz and Dizan set off in the night. I woke, their chambers were empty, their belongings gone. The ship had sailed. Along with it, my artifacts, with my life's work and knowledge of the maps and runes and mentions of anything to do with this city.
That the lantern that we covered from the Duragar stronghold didn't have an orb in it, did it? I can't remember.
No.
No. This is something personal to me. It's passed down through my family, the Harples. It's almost a sentient orb of power, something that remembers knowledge, stores, almost like a library unto itself. It's an incredibly resourceful item to have, and has guided me this far. And once here, the last few pieces of the puzzle would fit together and find the entrance to the Ithrin and Garner entrance. But I'm afraid I'm as lost as you in these times, and since the locals have a distaste for us arcane, we're hoping to enlist some more help.
And you've written nothing down anywhere. You just entrusted this magical item. And look what happened.
Placing poor judgment in colleagues and friends is a lesson to be learned late, I see, but the lesson has been learned.
Do
you have anything? The notes.
I know the room somewhere in the glacier is this fallen city, and its powers have sealed it off from the world for generations. I
think she's being truthful. Like, I'm just gonna pay attention to her body language and her facial expression.
Make a insight check.
Well, she's been speaking this entire time.
Not nat 20, but 22.
Do I notice whether she has a blue tongue or not?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
While they're all chatting, I want to be in the process of a short rest if I'm able.
You may.
Same.
That is a 23.
She does not appear to have a blue tongue, no. And what did you roll, Vale, sorry?
22, 18 plus 4.
She seems careful about what she says, not deceptive in what she's saying. She considers her words rather than, but what she said seems to carry truth, and there is belief behind what she's saying. Look, I'll be honest. The powers within Ithrin are attractive to me and elevate me above my peers and help me build a legacy to leave. But I'm at a loss. I've hit this dead end, and since the lovely Captain Imdra and her guards will execute anyone who so much you cast a cantrip in these lands, it makes it difficult for me to investigate.
Yeah, I understand that.
Now, I was hoping I could gain some more freedom through yourselves in acting in mutual interests.
What do you have that would interest us? Because we've got a lot on our plate at the moment. Like,
No, I'm
what
aware.
can you offer us?
A share of the power locked away in the lost city of Ithrin. The power to return this land into what it once was. No doubt saving the people here from a longer winter than most, one that they may not see the other side of. It's no secret that people are struggling, and the council is no better equipped to deal with this than anyone else. You can see that, surely.
I don't want anything to do with the power. Just get the right people to do the right thing to get this place back to normal.
In the
Keep the
meantime,
power for yourselves.
whilst we are, if we do decide to help you, whilst we're doing that, what's going to stop the Duragar that we're currently trying to investigate from stealing more Shardlin, killing more people, and, you know, continuing with that? Because that at the moment is at the top of our list.
Fairly understood. I can see the concern there. I'll be true, I care not for their interests or what they're planning. The crystals they hoard are remnants of the fallen city, the fallen empire. The Shardlin is a resource, if you like, the very rock the city itself is built from, in fact. The old Netherese people were masters of their craft. Everything hummed with arcane energy, and the weave itself was pulled into being. Unfathomable power drove these cities to soar above the heavens and travel the skies. And then when they didn't, they fell to earth and were lost. The remnants are found in these shards, in these spires, in these magics, and it's powerful stuff.
What do you think you're doing with the Shardlin then?
I'm not sure. It can't be anything good, not knowing the sort of company those creatures in the Underdark tend to keep, serving their own dark intentions, no doubt. It's a magically susceptible substance. It can hold power. It holds magic remarkably well. If you're building an arcane city, there's no finer substance. It's truly a wonder of the old empires.
Could they be on the same course as you, rebuilding this city to gain the power?
I honestly don't think they even know it exists.
I'm gonna get out the map.
They're too busy fumbling in their caves and in their dark and probably arguing who's leading the thing.
I'm gonna get out the map that we got from the Duragar, and put it on the table in front of her and say, "Do you speak Dwarvish?"
I do.
Just take a look at this map and see if you make anything of it. These places that they've drawn on themselves have obviously not been, you know, explored as part of the making of this map. They've put them on here themselves. So do you know anything of them?
Seems to be the outpost. I first spotted your travels, and you left the mountain and headed north. The areas seem to be taking stock. Seems areas that have been relieved of its crystal, and seems to be a center of power in the mountains. It's nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. It's these dwarves live in these hills and they relish underground. It's not a surprise they make their home in the mountains.
This point here, and I'm going to point to the bit that they've drawn on themselves with the mountainous, I can't remember what it's called, the something of the
Spine of the World Mountains.
Yeah, but there's like a fortress, like a daylight. What's it called?
Sunblight.
Sunblight, yeah.
That's the one. going to point at that they've drawn on themselves and go, "What do you know about this?"
Don't know of any fortress in those hills. It's not an area I've been to or have any interest in being close to. The Sunblight name goes back long ago. The Sunblight clan held sway over the mountains and a portion of the land in aeons ago, back when dragons ruled the skies and dark creatures of the deep roamed the surface.
I already did a roll on that, didn't I?
Say again, sorry?
The Sunblight clan. I already did a roll on that a couple of sessions ago. Was it
Yeah,
last
you're
session before?
you're aware of similar. You're aware of an old,
a very, very old clan. Yeah.
That. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm sure these creatures fumbling around hoarding crystal is probably not good news, and I can't imagine a good outcome of that. Don't get me wrong, but it's not something I'm. If I find this city, none of that will matter.
I look at the kobold, the undead kobold, Bankyokis. And while staring at her, I just say to her, "How many lives would you take to get to your goal?"
As few as possible.
I just saved you a few seconds.
I take any. Unless, of course, they're bad lives to take. Then sips tea.
I don't make a habit of violence, as some of my colleagues seem to have taken a liking to. Such a crude way of making your way forwards in this life. It's
You have the power of the ancient Netherese in your hand. What do you do with it?
I don't think that's for one individual to make that decision.
Is it not that you want to make that decision? You want that power.
I want to be the one who finds that power and brings that power to the right people, to people who can make those choices and can better protect us from the endless evils that assault this land.
I'm going to just judge what she's saying again and see if I believe her in
Behind
that
this
specific sentence.
behind this surface world that you walk around on so ignorantly, the Lord of the Seven Hells, creatures from planes beyond your imagining, assault this world. We're poorly equipped. We have no way other than sheer luck and defending ourselves.
And the
through
Brotherhood
sheer-
of the Arcane are going to save us all. Except the ones that went rogue and tried to take the power for themselves.
If we have the capability, it's
Do you still
a way of
trust in your Brotherhood? Seeing that they've already betrayed you, at least two of them, did you say?
Essentially.
power will always corrupt those of weak mind. There's always those who are going to be seek to self-serving.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you still trusted your Brotherhood. Your statement is as true as any. Power will always corrupt, good, evil. But do you trust your Brotherhood?
I trust the collective wisdom of the Brotherhood.
How do you make sure you don't hand that power to one of those that would betray you? Surely you must be, nervous of going back to any of the Brotherhood. You came here as 3, maybe more, 2 of them turn. You've already said it will corrupt. You're going to take something far more powerful than an idea. Assuming you find the city, that power will corrupt far faster.
I think a power with the capability to corrupt, but the capability to do great good. That great good is worth a risk. Without such power, places like the Dale here and this entire settlement will be frozen and forgotten within years, if not months.
The reason I agree to wield such power to protect those that need it, I cannot deny. I agree with that. I only fear that your Brotherhood of the Arcane is already corrupt.
Maybe so. It's, as far as I see it, until we have such power and such decisions to make, it's not something worth dwelling on.
I may have missed this point in the multiple talks we've had with yourself, but do you wish for us to seek out the city?
No, don't think you would know what to do once you found it, if I'm being honest.
You followed us for a reason. Were you just
That's
blind hoping that we'd get close?
No, of course not. I need you to retrieve what was taken from me.
You want the Professor Orb?
I want the Professor Orb. I want my information back. I want my life's work returned in order for me to find this city and find the way of unsealing it.
Seeing as to how they got on a ship, that might take a little bit of time.
You're muted, Tony.
Quite a bit of time.
Gravy time.
There's only one coastal route here. The Sea of Moving Ice follows the westerly shore. There's nowhere else for it to dock. If Nast made it this far and Dazan didn't make land and make his way to East Haven, it must have made land somewhere.
Lady
Oh.
Violin.
Say again, sorry, Ilkus.
Lady Violin, would this power help get rid of the darkness, the eternal winter?
I imagine so. If not directly, it would give the power to challenge those who keep this place in the state it's in.
I'm assuming you're going to ask us to find your orb, the Professor Orb. Is that what you want?
I
from
think
us?
she already has.
Just
Well, I
could've
don't think we've had that conversation quite as frank. But
literally
what
just
would-
had that
what would you
conversation
want
as
from
frank
us?
as that.
And I stated it will take probably a while to find if they got on a ship and are going around.
Let me put it this way with you: if people like Nas are reckless, if they're willing to turn at the first sign of a taste of power, I'd be more concerned less of how long it takes you to find it and what happens if they get there first. If that city is breached and isn't kept under control, and those amateurs that don't have power to contain the energies within, it can cause more untold horrors that it solves. Those energies have been locked away for thousands and thousands of years. It's not a door you open lightly without preparation.
And what do you want us to do when we find them? Dispatch them or bring them back to you as well?
Don't really care
How much for the
Good.
orb?
how much. This goes beyond the value of gold.
No, it doesn't.
It's use of gold if you'll freeze to death if the creatures of this wilderness overrun, destroy the land.
You came here with a trusted brotherhood, which is far more binding. We are the mere bunch of people put together by chance, and you're putting your trust in us to return an artifact to you of your life's work.
Putting trust in your preservation, in the fact none of you wish to see your townsfolk, kin and selves freeze to death and watch the people around you starve.
Then why don't we just take your orb for ourselves?
Do you know how to use such a thing?
No,
Would you know what to do with the information if you had it?
not the first slightest.
We have spent a lot of time these
could
past
ask.
few weeks, whatever, doing stuff because we know that it's right to do. But we still need better equipment. We still need to feed ourselves. We still need armor. We still need the tools to help us do the things that we want to do to save the towns that we come from. So in some respects, it is a matter of money. If we're putting ourselves out there and risking our lives, even if we die now or in 3 months' time when we freeze to death, if we're going to do this now, we still need to equip ourselves to do it properly. Otherwise, we will just die and you'll be back to square one. And you'll have to find someone else to do your job for you. So we are going to need financial recompense to do this properly.
With all the gold in the world, what would you buy from these lands?
They don't give us gold.
Fund the mission for us.
I would assume
Tell
the
the shops to
Brotherhood-
put it on your account.
I don't think that's the point, Celine, but well made.
What is
Your Brotherhood of the Arcane, I assume, are quite adept in casting.
We have our skills, yes.
The armor I wear, I took off an elk. It's not adept at repelling arcane fire or arcane cold. You don't have to give us gold, but we need knowledge can be just as valuable. We cannot walk towards an arcane practitioner that is of a skill level that my elk armor. I mean, I've 100% confidence that Sebastian will slay any foe. But what if they summon these creatures? There are shamans in my tribes that summon creatures from the realms that you speak of, and they are only wounded by weaponry imbued by the magic of those shamans. I carry no such weapon. I do not seek gold. I seek payment, or at least aid of a value. We will bring you your orb if we accept, but we won't be able to bring you your orb if you have 5 dead recent friends. And a pile kiss on the back.
Fund the mission with the stuff that we need to find your items, simply put.
Although, and then I look around the the abode. You must have come here with something. How did you expect to find the city in just those wonderful robes and mittens?
My capabilities are vast. My powers keep me safe.
Those powers we do not have.
Understand. I don't believe Nas would give you much trouble. It's has spent their life researching the nonsense of divination and seeing beyond the fabrics of reality to see realms beyond.
To see what's coming.
Different planes of existence, to see things that mortals cannot. It's don't need to worry yourselves with
somebody who can look into the future and see multiple paths.
Yeah. The 5 adventurers coming to get them, perhaps for an orb that they stole.
I'm not saying they will, and I'm not saying that we can't do the job or we're capable or not capable. I merely am saying that the suggestion that we do it for the saving the world proposition is not going to deflect magic of any sort, of the minions your friend may or may not have, of the Duergar that will get in our way because they seem to be getting in everybody's way. They are able to make themselves twice my size, and they are dwarfs. They are able to turn invisible, control our minds, and they are not your enemy. They are just a snow bump in the middle of the tundra that will definitely be in our way on going to retrieve your orb.
Lady Velen, can you enchant any of their weapons to fight against these old friends of yours?
It's not a school I've mastered or studied. It's not something I'm capable of. I mean, I appreciate where you're coming from, don't get me wrong, and equipment and the means to make your lives easier is aspirational, of course. You've made it this far with the equipment you carry in your backs. I can point you in the direction of areas of interest that may hold artifacts that hold power, but if I had power to share with you, I'd be using it to seek my favor myself. The shops here are empty. The land is barren. What artifacts haven't been hoarded and sold are out there to be discovered. I don't. What is it? If it can be helped, I can guide you. I can point you in the right directions. But the equipment I have is mine. That keeps me safe. I have nothing to spare. I travel light.
You spare 2 kobolds in a trench coat.
I don't think they'll listen to you, little one.
We were so close.
Look, I appreciate I'm asking a lot, and if the answer to your problems, your own futures, your own well-being, your own livelihoods, I'm not saying save the world and such grandiose gestures such as that. It's more saving the people around this table, more saving the people in the town. The rest of the world is not starving to death. The rest of the world has its own problems. That can be addressed tomorrow. Right now, there are other concerns. You have these creatures of the mountain plotting. You have the winter pressing down on the people. Nas is out there somewhere searching for the city.
Celine's gonna turn to Adri and just whisper to her, Cauldron, should we ask?
No. Not yet.
Look,
All right.
if I don't know if there's any power to be had, but if you want a gesture of goodwill, if you like, before heading to the north, there's reports of an inventor, an alchemist, a man losing his mind in his later years, lives a life of solitude in a cabin. Maybe 2-day travel of Bryn Shandar to the north. Spouting on about finding a way of ending the winter, of returning the sun to the dale. He seemed convinced.
What's his name?
Didn't catch his name. Just heard it through town. They just referred to him as an old hermit type. The townsfolk didn't seem to take much stock in his nonsense, but powers like that, even crazy rumors and tall tales, have an element of truth to them. If he's willing to spend his dying years investigating it, might be onto something.
Rob, what's Celine knowledge on this, since this is person like that the town knows about? Has she heard of him?
AK history check.
Is-
Anyone from Bryn Shandar? No. Lonely
9.
words, care. Yeah, none of you are. 9.
Yes.
No, you. There are plenty of weird, odd old guys or old people who, you know, have retired from adventuring and spend their. You know, most people in Icewind Dale are pretty not cut from the regular cloth. Like, they're a little bit eccentric and a little bit devious. It's a bit of a scoundrelly settlement in the best of times, so it could be any number of people that you've come across in your time.
Old guys walking on going, my precious.
You've seen weirder things.
Yeah.
I believe he was a man in previous time, gave his attention to the Morning Lord and spent his time at the church, if we could ask there, I guess, but
We'll ask. That's all we can do right now.
other than that, like I say, there's countless relics scattered in these lands, just waiting to be unearthed. If you take me as the word and you want to secure a future for yourselves, for your people, I'm not asking you to come to the city with you. I'm not asking you to save the world. I'm just asking you to give me a chance to find what I'm looking for.
We find your friend with the orb.
No friend of mine.
Orb.
As the lady said,
Delete.
we'll dispatch of our friends as we need so.
Well, it's going to come down to, like, unless we get really lucky and we manage to take it off them while they're asleep, it's going to come down to a fight. So, do you have any insight on what they can do? Do you have any advice for us? You know, if we do end up having to be in combat against them, like, we need a bit more about what we're going to be up against.
Nas
Weaknesses would be a great thing to know.
On a scale of 1 to 9, how powerful are their magics?
Nas, they studied under Zelen the White, one of the 5 archmages of the Brotherhood.
Cousin of Gandalf.
Oh,
They
good.
were slow to master arcane traditions, but they picked up traditions of divination readily and could, like I say, peer beyond what most could see. And it's not an area many of us study, let alone gain much progress in. And before long, there was illusions of grandeur. And
Do you have any information where they might be? Or have you already said?
if you find the ship, I dare say you find
No
Nas.
shit.
And there's the one port that they would be at, the one port that is operational.
There's no port that I'm aware of. It's just one coastline that travels the western border of the Dale. It's the only waterway through these parts.
I look at.
If you head too far north, the ice makes it impassable. So the channel only goes so far.
I look at Celine keeping that rigid posture with the same grit and determination she did when she didn't feel tired after carrying the cauldron. I look around the rest of us and the hefty axe wound in Adri's face.
I sealed that.
It's fine. Yes, you've done a great job. Maybe we should rest and speak amongst ourselves
I think we
before
should.
we give you an answer.
And somebody needs to tell me what divination magic is, because Celine has no idea.
If you're worried about
we can answer
Nas,
questions.
Nas was an outcast. I think they left. Zelen was disappointed in them. They left to. I think their pride was hurt more than anything, and they left to seek further study. But there never seemed much power there, much innate ability to master the arcane, to pull from the weave, and I think they saw this as an opportunity to gain that power.
They're not as studied as they'd like to be, and they're trying to fast track themselves by using this power.
Visions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Adri looks around and goes, so we play some bets on selling their soul to the god, right? Yeah.
The only thing I've ever seen them do, she points over the dissolved kobold, managed to leave that on the way out. I woke up in the morning and my friend here who was looking after the belongings was a little worse for wear, and I had to bring them back.
Friend want to be back?
Seems happy enough.
When you say bring him back, you have the power to do that, or did you simply heal them? Were they dead then and you brought them back, or you just healed them?
He's dead.
Look at the kobold. It's definitely healed. But...
No, I'm trying to find out if they have powers of healing that we might benefit from.
Are you a necromancer?
Let's just say the skills I possess aren't always accepted.
Are you a necromancer? I am aware there are schools of magic, mainly ones around necromancy. Are you a necromancer?
Portions are. Some skills in the darker arts.
So theoretically, if we accidentally killed someone that we need to ask questions, could we bring them to you and then get the information? Could you do that for us? Because it would be a fantastic help.
I look straight at Adri.
I told you we brought a head.
You can't just
Think
undead a head.
we need the whole body.
Body.
For that, Alcus.
It is not the.
Okay.
It is not powers to be used trivially.
It's not trivial. It's very important.
It requires
Celine would nod.
a lot of effort and time, and is not something I can
I would assume
produce
expensive
on a
components
whim.
as well.
It's, there are cheaper rituals.
Well,
Hell, if
considering
you were
you
willing
don't have
to-
any gold and we don't have any gold,
What if you were willing to bring back a kobold? Like, this is pretty important. Like, I have a feeling that this guy could be one of the top runners to find out about where, like, the citadel is and stuff, so we can figure that out. It'd be very important and very helpful.
Now, before any of that, quick question, dear lady, about your kobold. Are they under your control, or are they of their own mind?
They do as I say. They have no conscience of their own. The conscience left them the moment they.
all of them.
But
No,
do they remember? Do they remember anything?
don't believe so. Their consciousness and their memories and what made them sentient left the moment the magics took their life.
So you raise them to be a number.
So you can't raise something to have its previous memories, like we would want.
I think the magic exists. I've heard of people with that power. It's not something I can do.
I believe it is of a divine nature we need. Adri.
Answer.
Or Elkis's flavour.
Yeah, we go back to Celine's, eat, sleep.
We should definitely eat, sleep. I concur.
Rinse, repeat.
Can we answer you in the morning?
You may.
I live not too far from here.
I'll push a
Nothing.
gold coin across the table to Violin. That's for the door.
Can I take a cup of tea?
If there's any left, you can take one for the road, sure.
As Adri sees Gentle Step slide over a piece of
she,
gold for a door, she's like, sorry, we don't have gold, and you're giving an entire gold
Well,
for a wooden door.
while that's happening, the animated kobold goes over to the stove and pulls the kettle over and kind of stumbles over towards Elkis and holds out the kettle and fills the cup up.
We don't have gold. I do.
There's just this soft swirl of magical energy kind of in these empty sockets of eyes, and you can see kind of the entire exposed set of teeth going right back to the molars as the lower part of the jaw is just burnt away. I think like Two-Face style, the whole lower part of the jaw is burnt away, and part of the chest is burnt away, and you can see a few ribs in the collar exposed.
Lady, do you need this fourth kobold?
As his uses, doesn't get tired, can pull the sled for days.
Can you not deal with just 3? It doesn't feel right.
The other 3 get tired, need to rest, need feeding. This one does not.
Get better kobolds.
Are you sure their consciousness is fully gone?
There's no... I don't pretend to understand the divine arts. There's no spirit to be brought back. There was no essence.
I'll look at Celine. The Shermans described it as an animation rather than a bringing back.
So it can't feel pain?
Don't believe so. It's
We're not testing.
Think of it of a shell that's filled with energy rather than an essence brought back.
How long do they last before the body decides to decompose? Or does the magic keep it alive?
Until the Sherman dies. Or in this case, and I just nod at her.
Interesting.
Right, I'm hungry. I think we should go get food, go sleep, and come back.
Well, gather our senses.
We should definitely take some time for ourselves.
Before we go, Celine's going to turn around back to her villain. You're Dragonborn. It's one of yours. You know the other one in town by any chance? Slightly bigger one.
Actual dragonborn, not a kobold in a trench
Yes,
coat.
2 kobolds in a trench coat, not a
Yes.
dragon. Yeah.
There's a very clear distinction.
I forgot about that. I'm like, oh yeah, the trench coat. That's right.
No one have noticed.
Not
Doesn't
noticed
ring
the
a
other
bell, I'm
Dragonborn.
afraid.
You don't know anything about people having abnormally coloured tongues, do you? Just before we go.
Hannah's expression there was right.
No, that's Adri's expression.
Yeah.
No longer Hannah at this point.
She kind of looks. She glances around the room and just kind of half cocks an eyebrow. It's like people draw power from places, from wherever. Who am I to judge? They're
Infinite tongue.
It's usually a sign of connections to the Frost Maiden, signs that they pull power from the ice. So side effect. Most people who
Adri's like in the corner.
most those who pull their power from those who force the weave to bend to their will and force their
Brave,
powers
lass, brave.
tend to have side effects, tend to have pushback. It takes years of study to control these powers and to tap into such arcane abilities. Those who cheat that
You got toe spells.
usually comes at a price.
Yeah, you cheater. Thank you.
I'll put my hand on Elkis's shoulder as we're walking out. We will return them. But not yet.
Okay.
just now that I've made contact with you, the fourth member of the Brotherhood that set out,
Can't trust fucking nobody.
it's not someone I recognised. It's not someone I've seen around home, not someone whose name was recognised within the circles I ran in. I don't know where they are, what they're doing, but I
The name?
don't have them to give you.
Oh.
Their powers.
You really need to stop bringing up these people that you have no idea.
I thought you said it was
About-
a name that you didn't recognise knowing about, but I thought that meant that you would have a name, you just didn't know who they
Sorry,
were.
their name doesn't travel within the circles that she's
Oh, okay.
part of. They set out on their own, and they seem to have been fine without the aid of others, which suggests that their power is not something to be trivial with. Just be mindful. No doubt they're keeping tabs on myself and Nas and the other and Dazan. Just keep your wits about you.
Good to know that there's one more out there who's a little more formidable foe. We'll watch.
I'll do my best to keep an eye on things, and if anything comes up or if you fall on hard times, I'll try and aid where I can. And at that, she lifts her hand up, and she kind of brings her hand to her shoulder, and as she pulls her hand, there is this flash of white energy as a white barn owl, snowy owl, just appears in a flash of bright light.
Eats the weasel.
And takes the weasel and flies over there.
Leave the weasel alone. I swear to God, I'll make this thing crawl up your asshole.
I'm coming for it.
That'd be an interesting roll. Make a constitution saving throw. a strength check. And the
The
owl.
weasel is lunch and the owl is dessert.
And as the owl kind of materializes, it takes off and flies through a space in the rafters and takes off into the sky.
Is that how you watched us?
Gonna hit it as it goes.
That's one method.
Let us leave.
Yep, we're off.
I assume.
Certainly a more colourful bunch in person, I have to say. Impressed you've all managed to make such a name for yourself in such a short time. Maybe there's hope after all.
Literally
You should
one
see
foot
us
out
on
the
a
door.
good day. Oh, Selena's still dragging herself.
Sorry,
Pass.
Adri for a second kind of is like almost bewitched by the white barn owl, and then goes, "Wait, hold on, what was that?" Obviously, an owl. Like, you don't need to teach me to suck eggs, but like familiar or like an astral projection or something.
Don't worry yourselves with things.
I do worry myself with things.
So,
I am a
stop
worrisome
looking at it,
person.
you won't understand.
You are specifically asking us to worry about your things, okay?
Is
Worry about the pie.
where the owl come from important right now?
Yes.
It's a manifestation of arcane energy. It's something that those who study magic learn at a younger age.
The realm of fairies.
Ooh, that dig. Those of us that.
What purpose does that serve? As she pulls out like a scroll and a pen.
Handy dandy notebook.
So close.
Obviously,
It's this time.
So a beast has a connection to me. I can see through its eyes. I can see the world through its vision. It can get places I cannot. It's a useful ally. Not
And another question.
not dissimilar to your friend there.
I pulled this out of a bag. Quite impressed myself.
You were the
Now
only one.
just
Insert
one last
weasel noises
question.
here.
Awful bloody growling.
Squeak.
one last question. How do you feel about the cold?
It's unfortunate, but there's not a lot I can do about it just yet.
Saying it doesn't bother you.
it's common.
It's cold. It's not. You wrap up and keep the fire and stay indoors. It's
Look at her robes, Audrey, and her mittens,
tolerable.
and the white fur around her collar.
She's wearing pretty heavy cold weather gear,
Look at me, gentle steps.
nursing a cup of hot
As-
tea with a fire next to her.
As I am wearing full, heavy, cold weather clothes,
You didn't put your
So you
phone
answered
back on.
your own
Yeah, I did.
question.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
You answered your own question. How does
Yeah,
she
you
feel
did-
about the
just-
cold? She keeps warm.
Yeah, she makes efforts to stay warm.
Can I go now?
Yeah, food.
Rest. I just need rest.
Pie.
That too, that's really not a bad idea. Some pie right now. Celine will turn around and nod to the lady. Thanks. I almost feel a little, not reassured, but knowing that the owl's there, at least you can see if we get stuck somewhere. And if we do run into this fourth person, what in the world could you possibly do about it unless the owl can help us?
Oh, is that aimed at me?
Yes.
Well, I can answer if you want. Absolutely
Yeah.
nothing, Celine.
I can
I
keep an eye on things. There's creatures out here. There's wilderness entities that roam the nights.
Is it safe to say you can use it for scouting functionality?
Can try and direct things away from you, make you aware of what I can. Who knows?
that's not bad. It's something.
Information. It will give us information. Let us go.
Yes.
We go
Please,
now.
Let us go. I'm the last one at the door, forcing everybody out. We're breathing out and everything. I'll try and put the. Yeah, me and Elkis. Just like.
You know that scene in Harry Potter where Hagrid puts the door back up?
Yeah, just like.
That.
See you tomorrow, Lynn.
As you guys, you are kind of almost flanked and escorted back out into the cold, into the ice, as a couple of the reptilian kobolds begin to start picking up the splintered wood and start sorting out pieces that look can be salvageable, and seem to start making efforts to make some repairs and put a covering back to the door. And you guys begin the journey back to town. You see sailing off into the distance overhead, just disappearing into the distance, the trail of white as the owl disappears from sight.
Get my bow out. No.
As you guys, you probably get
Do it.
5-10 minutes away from Evelyn's house, for lack of a better word. And you hear, in fact, you get as you're maybe about 20 seconds or so away from the house, and Audrey, you hear a voice suddenly enter your head. It's the voice of Evelyn, and a message comes through that just says, "Be careful with the powers you mess with." And it goes quiet.
Have you kept walking, Audrey? Or did you stop?
No. Adri stops in this moment, and kind of like almost like a face just completely glazes over, and like she's just expressionless.
I put my hand on her shoulder. Audrey, you with us?
Yeah. No. I'm back. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm just really hungry. My face hurts.
Let's return to Celine's.
Let's go.
Need more healing?
I'll be fine. We'll get back. I'll be fine. Don't worry.
Celine doesn't believe her, but she trudges on.
As we're walking, I'll be perceiving as much as I can, regardless of if anything's there.
Make a perception check.
Where is the weasel at this point?
It's like tucked into my neck.
Wrapped away.
Just wrapped.
4.
You see the wheels like poking up.
Have we got a reroll? We got a reroll.
It looks like a-
Or did
We
use
do
it?
have a reroll.
I'm using it.
Yes.
8.
What was the first one?
4.
Oh.
The afternoon dusk starts to slowly send the kind of blue tinged sky into the greys, into the darkness, as the evening falls as you make your way into town,
Towards the leads.
towards Celine's on the edge of town. And as you draw close, you just hear the wind howling in the distance. There's kind of a knowing look back over across the snow as you see the smoke just whispering away, and blow of the winds and the long distant howl of wolves out in the wilderness.
I have a question for the DM.
What's that question?
Remember the place in early on when we went to the little creature? What was it again that had like the seeing with ghosts and stuff? I can't remember what they said. How many weeks are they there? Is it every fortnight or the white lady? How often are they there to commune with the ghosts?
I believe they traveled in and did the seance every 2 weeks or so. I believe I can double check. I believe it's every 2 weeks.
Has it been 2 weeks now?
No.
No, not even
It's
close.
been like
Okay.
A few days. About
3 days.
Yeah.
Wow, that was like maybe at least a week. Okay, never mind.
Now that was you. That was when you first returned to East Haven, and
Yeah.
you since then you spent a day going to the caves, and you've spent today. So this is the second day since day 3.
How do I keep? Okay, I'll try to keep track of days. So if we were nearby and 2 weeks pass.
Anyway, you make your way back to town. The echoes of the wilderness and the howls of long-distance wolves, and the wind picks up and sends the snow tumbling around your ankles as you make your way back to Celine's. And we're going to end the session there.
No, I had questions.
That's a sad story.
Sag.
So yeah, we'll wrap.
Don't you
tonight-
sag me.
We're gonna we'll wrap up there. It is 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for those in Twitch who are along for the journey. Thank you for the rerolls. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much, players, for jumping in and being all inquisitive and a nice little social deduction-y RP heavy session there. We'll be back next Friday, Heavyweight Gaming, twitch.tv/Heavyweight Gaming
What are you doing
for
on Monday?
episode 14 of Icewind Dale,
Frostwind
Maiden.
Dale, Ice
Frostwind
Maiden.
Dale, Icewind, Yorkshire team.
What are you doing
On
Monday, kids?
Monday we are debuting a new channel, the Short Rest Tavern, which will be I'll be DMing Candlekeep Mysteries with a large portion of this lovely bunch.
All
We're
of them bar me, who will be swapped out for the lovely Lauren.
You've probably seen on Thursdays Carbon. So we are on twitch.tv/The Short Rest Tavern. We will be giving away a copy of Candlekeep Mysteries every week for the first few sessions of running. So if you want to be in a chance of running your own game and get some free stuff from D&D Beyond, then do tune in. If you want to see what else is on Heavyweight Gaming, there are games heading off throughout the week. We have Cyberpunk with Carbon on a Thursday. There is your Call of Stone campaign, I believe, on a Tuesday.
No, it's Fables Among Titans on a Tuesday.
That's the one. Sorry, Fables Among Titans on a Tuesday. So if you want to check the schedule below, like and follow this page as well. You can see any of the catch-up episodes on YouTube. Thank you to all the sponsors, Loki Battle Maps, all the art, all the design, all the bits and pieces, all the contributors who help out. And yeah, from me, we'll see you over on Short Rest Tavern on Monday for the big grand debut. And I'll be back DMing Frost Maiden next Friday on Heavyweight Gaming.
Yeah, well, they did. And for those still interested in D&D, Sunday evening you'll get to see Dice of the Beholder doing their homebrew stuff. So feel free to pop in and say hello. Other than that, check us out, Rob. Say bye-bye.
Say bye-bye, players.
Bye,
Bye,
players.
players.